All right, guys, welcome back to Remotely Wasted. This is our last regular season episode of the college football season. We got a conference championship week just around the corner, Heisman ceremony next week. We got our boy Shelton back on here. Those of you that were with us since last year, Shelton came on for an episode. I think it was like our second most viewed episode actually.
Yeah,
So
probably.
Nice.
a lot of y'all might recognize Shelton actually.
It's the
Uh,
mustache.
Yeah, bigger mustache this time.
yeah. Shelton, he's really tuned into the group of five conferences more than me and Jaden are. Um, Shelton, refresh our memory. You like Liberty? You're a fan of Liberty, Duke. Is that correct?
And
Yeah,
Louisville?
man. So it's all kind of changed over the years, but I've been a Duke fan since I was like 2 years old, right? That's been my squad. I suffered through many a winless and 1 and 2 win seasons over the year, and so it's finally paying off. Of course, once it starts finally paying off, every coach does what they always do. They use Duke as a stepping stone, and we'll get to Mike Elko later. But yeah, Duke first and foremost. I attended and graduated from Liberty, so I've kind of thrown them into the mix over the years, and then to a smaller degree, Louisville. I did my master's at Louisville, and so I like to see them do well, but I wouldn't pull for them against either one of those teams. So
That's fair. I mean, it's a decent little spread of coverage, kind of outside of
sure.
our scope. Week to week, we tend to just mostly focus on top 25 teams. Unless we're really digging deep to find something to fill a topic, and they were like, oh shit, looking for a blowout in like the ACC or Big
Mm.
12 or something crazy. But uh,
Yeah, we haven't covered Liberty a whole lot. I know one week I had a Salter as like my five on like my Heisman list because he was putting up like Heisman numbers.
Mm.
yeah,
Um,
he should be out there still, but
he
He's a
just doesn't
beast.
play for a big enough school
Yeah,
to
so
get
he
that
actually was
consideration.
he transferred from Tennessee, so he's one of those guys that kind of like Malik, started at Auburn, Salter started at Tennessee and transferred to Liberty. So a lot of guys are finding success in the transfer portal
yeah,
coming to Liberty. So
he might need to go back. Tennessee needs help.
right.
Milton made it.
Yep,
But
yep.
So lately we've been starting our episodes off with kind of giving our personal top six. So Shelton, since you're the guest, who would you have at six right now in the playoff rankings?
I would have Texas at number 6 in the playoff
that's
rankings.
that's who
I'm
I
still
that's who
holding
See,
I
on to
got.
that.
that's who I got. No,
Hey,
that's
when all
crazy.
slacked in at Texas at 6. Yeah, they definitely
I'm still,
should be over Ohio State.
yeah,
I think Ohio State just maybe has the better loss. That might be why they're above them. But Texas is, has the better schedule. They've played better teams. I think they've looked a little bit better throughout the course of the year. Ohio State, they kind of struggled against Maryland, struggled against Penn State. I think there's another one that they struggled against. Probably not, but that's at least it. And then
I would have Ohio State like
yeah. Ryan,
I thought they was
yeah,
going to drop to the bottom of the one loss teams, 100%.
yeah, same.
I figured they'd be 8.
Ryan Day really struggles with Michigan, huh? It's kind of nice to see a change after so much Ohio State dominance for like
You,
20 years.
you think he gets fired or not? I don't know if fired, but like they come to some sort
I think
of.
he's gonna leave. Yeah, I
I can
think he's gonna
see it.
leave, and I don't. He's a great coach, right? We would welcome him with open arms at Duke, So
He's been getting hella disrespected by his own fans, and I mean I get
he
it. Like
has.
that's the one game you need to win. Like fuck the rest. You could
Hmm.
go 1-12, but you beat Michigan. Yeah, okay, cool. It will give you another year, but
Yeah,
um, it's starting to get to the point where like Michigan surpassed Ohio State year in year out, and Ohio State they got a little bit of catching up to do. They're losing Marvin Harrison. CJ Stroud's gone. I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have to hit the transfer portal hard potentially.
yeah.
They definitely need a quarterback. McCord ain't it.
I
I could
agree.
see McCord like getting better with some experience, but just his decision making is so bad, and then under pressure, and then you have this
He gets the happy
great
feet.
receiving core that you have, and it kind of just got wasted in that last game.
In my opinion, outside of Washington, it's like them two for best receiving cores in college football.
I
Uh,
agree.
by far, it's like them two and a country mile between everybody else.
It almost seems like both teams could run streak plays every single time and have success.
You could probably put 3 people on Marvin Harrison, and he's still gonna catch 1 out of 3 balls.
Yep, it's in his DNA.
That dude's fucking insane. But okay, all of us at 6 on Texas. That's interesting.
Okay, let me
I like it.
before I go into my 5, I gotta
Ooh.
kind of explain myself here because this isn't another hot take. Okay, let me. So I pretty much had to rank these like 1 through 8 because there's like really like 7 teams, which you could kind of Ohio State maybe has a shot. So looking at Ohio State, the only pathway they have to the playoffs, it looks like, is Texas to lose, Bama to lose, and Florida State to lose. And then they would maybe get in over Washington if Washington loses.
I don't think so.
That's their only the only possible path.
I think Washington would have to probably get blown out.
Yeah, I mean probably so. So that's why I have Ohio State at 8. I just don't think they have a pathway to the playoff.
Yeah, I don't either.
7. This is where it gets like a little. Let me make sure I'm 7.
Getting a little spicy.
Okay, so Oregon did earn my
No,
respect. They
didn't
earned my
put them at
respect with
7.
the Oregon State win. They did. But the reason I have them behind Texas is because if you look, common opponent, Texas played Texas Tech. They blew the lights out of them. And then, it was the early in the season, like first or second game, but Oregon did play Texas Tech really close. That's the only thing I could really think to like compare the two. I think Texas has had a little bit tougher of a schedule as well. So at 5, I have Alabama right now at the moment. I know
okay.
I know Texas has the head-to-head, but Alabama's had a really tough schedule. They've just found ways to win. I know the Auburn game was close, but that's always close. It's the Iron Bowl.
It's an Iron Bowl. So, and Hugh Freeze is a great coach, regardless of what their record is this year, and regardless of the fact. I'll tell you what, man, New Mexico State is like this kryptonite. That's 2 years in a row where he's coached a team where New Mexico State just beat the brakes off of him.
He probably fucking lays awake at night thinking of New Mexico State.
Probably Jerry Kill. He's done a great job as the head coach out there, man. Doing a really, really fantastic job.
He's got like those big head posters of that dude on his wall and darts.
Throwing darts, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's funny.
I got Oregon at 5. I just I think that's a good place for Oregon. Everybody's super high on Oregon. I'm kind of coming around a little bit. I genuinely just don't like Oregon to begin with.
I don't either.
For not other than them beating us in 2014 in the playoffs, really bad. I might be a little biased against them for that reason, but they've looked really, really dominant this year. Granted, their schedule is not great. The one good team they played, Washington, they lost, but it was very close.
It's close, yeah.
Final drive type game. So,
and it was in Tacoma, right?
It was on the road. So, I think that loss is better than Texas's loss. I think they would blow the doors off Texas. Even playing on the road at Texas if they was playing there, I think it wouldn't be close. And then they got the 1 loss, so I can't put them any higher. That's just my thing. I'm not going to put them in over an undefeated team unless it was like Cincinnati from a couple years ago. I would consider it, but no, I
got them 5 as well.
Yeah,
I got Oregon 5 as well. I just feel like the conference, top to bottom is pretty strong. There may not, obviously
for sure.
Those 2 teams in Oregon and Washington that are heads above, but I feel like, top to bottom, you got some decent strength.
The Pac-12 might be the strongest conference this year, overall, which is very weird to say and even
Arizona.
Consider. Oh my God, we talk about Arizona every week. We love Arizona, man. We love Arizona. We're trying to. Nick's gonna try to DM Fafita and see if we can get him on the podcast after the season ends. And
he's been our favorite player. Like that's like not on our teams this whole year.
That'd be solid.
He's a true freshman. Crazy.
Total beast mode, man.
The dude's insane. Absolutely insane. All right. 4.
I got Florida State.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. There's no reason we need to be any higher. If we had Jordan Travis, maybe, but no.
They're such a strange team to me. Like I'm really pulling for them. I've always liked Florida State, as an ACC guy and everything, and I want to see them do well. Obviously, I wanted Duke to beat him, and it looked like for a while that may
Be-
happen in that game. But
If
it's been weird. They started the year, they just annihilated LSU, and I'm like, yo, because I had Florida State number one in my preseason rankings over Clemson. I knew Clemson was going to take a backseat to Florida State this year, and they just started with that blowout of LSU, and then ever since then, there's been a lot
ups and downs.
of just getting by type of games,
I agree.
so they
I've
just
said
haven't
it a
looked as
couple.
dominant.
Yeah, I've said it a couple times. I'm still convinced we should have lost to Boston College. The refs won us that game. I'm like 100% we should have lost that game. And then Duke, if Riley Leonard was 100%, we would have lost. Duke would be undefeated if Riley Leonard's 100%. Never got hurt, barring any, small or other injury. Duke would be, I don't say unstoppable because
I don't want to talk about it.
that defense is fucking nasty, and
Yeah, defense was
Riley
nasty.
Leonard is very, very good.
With
Uh,
with UNC's schedule this year, I think Duke would be undefeated. I still don't know if we would, because man, Louisville took us to the woodshed. Louisville's a different team at home outside of the Kentucky game, and
that home field that they got is crazy.
yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
joke. But
And then
you
they
saw
and lose to Pitt.
yeah, right.
Weird.
You saw that Riley's transferring, right?
Yeah,
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame. I
Yeah.
think that's a really good place for him. I don't know if he really fits in like that offensive scheme per se. I think they should change the scheme to fit him.
Hmm.
Because like
They
look
should.
at Sam Hartman transferring over, running the slow mesh at Wake Forest, coming over. Now no slow mesh, night and day difference.
Hmm.
He's not good in that scheme that they got going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have Estime coming back, but if he's still there, that 1-2 combo there, they need some receivers because they got nobody.
Yeah.
But I think Riley Leonard, he's a very good passer too. It's not just his feet that makes him a
Sure.
powerhouse quarterback. So
That just hasn't been our game at Duke. It's been mostly like,
exactly.
smash mouth football. So he hasn't had as many opportunities to kind of showcase that, but he's absolutely is a good passer for sure.
And I said this when Sam Hartman went to Notre Dame. I was like, okay, Notre Dame, they're probably gonna go undefeated, make playoffs, and then I will say it again, if they get Riley Leonard, which is more than likely gonna happen, and he's 100%, and they can get the offense going. I watch out, watch
Notre
out.
Dame's schedule is pretty brutal though too. I'll give them that. Their
Yeah,
schedule, they didn't shy away from anyone this year at all.
Yeah, I mean Notre Dame, with it being a 12-team playoff next year with Riley Leonard
they
being
should
on the
make
team,
it.
I think they should be good. If not, I think that's when Marcus Freeman might start getting his seat might get a little bit hot after that.
I agree.
Yeah, Florida State though, that you can't tell yet. I mean, I have to see what they do against Louisville because it was a rivalry game against Florida, so it made sense. I said from the beginning of the season, even when they had Jordan Travis, that was going to be a tough game for them to
He
win.
did
It's at the
indeed.
Swamp.
Yeah.
But the team just really didn't look good.
Man,
Florida really kind of led the way in most of the game. They really set the tone,
yeah.
and at the end, Florida State comes out with it. And I'm just curious to see if they give us more of the same against Louisville, or if we kind of see a step in some improvement, and Rodemaker starts firing on all cylinders. But if not, Florida State might be in some trouble.
Yeah, for sure. I'll deep dive into them a little bit more once or if I make it to that portion of team talk. But yeah, we're like a different team every week. It's very bizarre. I don't know what the fuck we be doing sometimes. I genuinely don't.
How long before Billy Napier's seat starts to get hot? You think he's got one more good year before things start to get really hot
next
for him?
year if they
I think
they
it's
have a
getting
similar
warm.
year, he'll get fired in season. And
He's
then
a
if
great recruiter too. That's what's crazy.
He is. Yeah.
And if he doesn't get fired in season and we beat them again next year, he's done. Like that day probably. Like he might, because it's more than likely. I think we're home that next year. He won't even make it back. It'll probably be done.
Can we backtrack a little bit and talk about just the absolute, insanity of having to follow up someone as insanely handsome as Sam Hartman? Can you imagine having to like slide into that role and just be
He's
even
solid.
half it? He's a handsome dude,
He's
man.
got some nice hair.
He does. He looks like a Disney prince, bro.
He'd be looking lost out there. I remember when at the USC game. Who do they lose to? At their first loss. I'll find out real quick.
Trying to think. It was
The Ohio State game. He was
Oh, yeah,
he
that
was
was Ohio
lost. He was lost out there. I was
close
watching.
game.
He'd be on the sideline and he was just like deer in the headlights. Like I, and then that Louisville game too. He was over there just lost. He didn't know what to do. I'm pretty sure he's a senior, so he's got to leave.
Yeah,
Well,
he's like
that's
a
the second
6-year
year.
senior or some
He
shit
is.
like that.
He's like 30 years old, bro.
I don't see him really getting drafted. Maybe he's picked up as like a free agent, scout team type guy.
XFL maybe. I mean, he'll get a shot like on a roster.
I don't see
Sure.
a route forward for him, in the league, unfortunately, unless he can find like a good fit in an offense or maybe a good coach. But I mean, I feel a little bad for him. I think he should have stayed at Wake Forest.
Yeah. It's
He's
unfortunate.
gonna be one of those
that
guys
he's
that's
not.
like a third string backup.
Yeah, I could see it. Like
Sorry,
Jake
go ahead.
Browning at Cincinnati.
So
Starter now.
Going up to number 3, I have Michigan.
Same.
How about you, Shelton? Who you got at number 3?
I have Washington.
You got
What?
Washington at number
How?
3.
How do you have Michigan above
I got
Washington? Oh man, well,
I don't know, man. I just feel
Washington
like they
has
look really, really good, bro.
Washington has the best wins out of anybody, in my opinion.
I mean, I guess you could argue that the Ohio State win is better than the Oregon win.
But is Ohio State even really like that good of a team?
They only have one loss. I mean, and it was
They
close
ain't played
one.
nobody. They beat Notre Dame, but so was fucking 2 other people. Louisville beat Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Like, and then Louisville loses to Pitt.
Yeah, true.
And then they lose to Kentucky.
So for me, it's so close. And like you said, like we talked about earlier, I do think that the Pac-12 is probably top to bottom the best conference. For me, I think it just comes down to eye test. Like I just think that if Michigan and Washington play, that Michigan will pound them into submission. I think it'll be close, but I just feel like top to bottom, Michigan's the better team.
Or do you take any stock into the cheating allegations, the sign stealing, them potentially having a very big advantage on basically everybody that they've played? What do you think? You buying into it?
I don't know how big the advantage is. I mean, I think everybody does a little bit of that in some way, shape, or form. It's really hard to say without all the kind of behind the curtain material and everything. But I don't know. I mean, since it's happened, they still look to be winning and doing well. So I think they're a talented, well-coached team. And that and here's another thing. Let me just throw this out there too. I think that Michigan is better than Washington. And even though I do have Oregon in that 5 spot, I actually think Oregon would beat Michigan. Sometimes it's about matchups, and I feel like if Oregon plays Washington on a neutral, Oregon's gonna win. I just feel like Oregon's probably the best team. It's just how that matches up now. I do have Washington in that spot for now, but subject to change.
That's fair. Yeah, I Washington was one of my like early contenders to like win it all, and I locked in like a $50 bet on DraftKings Washington win the national championship. Because I was like, damn, that offense is unstoppable. Like, they don't matter. They don't need a defense. You got to go out there, you got to go outscore them, and nobody can do it so far.
Penix is a beast. Beast mode.
And even the games that they've been close, Arizona State, Oregon State, this past weekend, they find ways to win. The defense sometimes shows up in those games. Pretty much both of their only close games I've stated has been in the rain. So as long as it's not raining, I think the offense is firing on all cylinders. And
I believe it's in Vegas. I believe it's in Vegas, and I think
zero chance.
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why I think Washington's gonna win, because the games they struggled in, it was like poor weather. Put Michael Penix in a dome. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of hard to stop him. But I mean, you also got Bo Nix on the other side, so
yeah,
so probably gonna be a shootout.
It's like whichever. It's like the USC game where who's gonna get the one stop. And we talked about this previously. Like they got the fumble on Caleb Williams. That was the one stop. It's like, okay, game's over. Penix throws an interception in the end zone. Okay, we're evened up on stops. And then they got another one, and then the game was over. So it's who's gonna get a stop? And Oregon does have the better defense. So on paper it does seem like Oregon should win, and I believe they are the favorites going into the game. I don't want them to win, but I think I think either of them, if they do make the playoffs, could have a very good chance of winning it. It would be cool to see a new team winning. Neither of them have won before, so it'd be nice to see a new national champion. But I really don't want to see Oregon win it. I would very much not like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to see them win it either. But
God,
honestly, with Georgia, it would be pretty cool in the modern day to see a team three-peat, just because it seems insane that anyone could do that with all the talent that's out there, and especially with the transfer portal.
yeah,
But I think it really speaks to the job that Kirby's done with that team.
it'll never happen again. I especially going into the 12 team going forward, unless they transition back, to four to the BCS type, picking system. There's almost 0% chance of this ever happening again. You're playing, harder teams you've never played before.
I mean, home games and different stuff like that
You're
as
getting
well.
buys, and it's gonna be fucking crazy. And the chances of you three-peating again, anybody ever, is very slim. So yeah, the fact that Georgia's on the cusp of doing it is actually insane. I don't want to see it. I fucking I'm sick of Georgia. Don't say it. I've said it before. I'm sick of them.
It's gonna happen though.
It's more than likely.
It's just gonna happen. Like they're so good.
They're very good.
Very good.
Very well rounded. Yep. Remember Nick? We was talking about Georgia always goes down 7 points to start the game. Last weekend went down 7 again. Still comes back to win. Every week they go down by 7, 3, or 10, and they still come back and win. And it's fucking unfortunate. But
sometimes you gotta get punched in the mouth to get better. So that's what they do.
Yeah,
wakes them up a little bit. So I'm assuming our 2 and 3s are just swapped because I got Washington at Michigan. 2.
Same.
Yep. Yeah, and I got Michigan.
I would have Washington at 1. If I've been following this rule all year, I will not take Georgia off 1. They're undefeated, back-to-back defending champs. They don't deserve to slip below 1, even if they win every game by 1 point. So I've had Georgia at 1 all year, and I refuse to take them off. But in my opinion, think Washington should be 1, based off schedule, wins, who they've beat, and Georgia has increased their strength of record and strength of schedule as the years gone on. Missouri, Ole Miss,
great win in Missouri.
That man, Missouri is what a year from Missouri. And then that win against Florida.
Sure.
Oh, yes, it was exhilarating.
Yeah.
Who do you have 1? You have Georgia, Sheldon?
Yeah, I got Georgia number 1.
I was just double checking.
I think Georgia should be 1. There's, I'm not just putting them there. Just the way they keep. I mean, I know they struggled a little bit last week against Georgia Tech, but in these other games, the way they dominated, like Ole Miss, for example, I thought Ole Miss was a pretty good team going. I mean, because they played like Bama reasonably close. I think it was like 2 scores, but it wasn't bad. But they just destroyed Ole Miss. They didn't like destroy Missouri, but they won pretty good, I think. They made it pretty convincing. I can't remember if it was a 1 or 2 score in that one. It's been a few weeks, but Missouri was a really good team. And Georgia,
I think the Missouri win was like 2 scores. I think it was like 10 or 14 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 30 something to 20 something. I feel like
it was close for a while. Yeah, and then
it was
got out of hand in the 4th quarter.
I know that was 9.
9. Yeah.
So 2 scores. That's pretty good. And then at Missouri, man, that one loss that they had, they lost to Kentucky, right?
Was it
Missouri,
Kentucky?
I thought they
No,
lost
it was
to
LSU and then Georgia. I don't know why I thought they lost to
LSU,
Kentucky. Yeah, that LSU loss is like, God, they'd be right there on the cusp of the playoffs too if they wouldn't have lost to LSU, because they're only lost to be to Georgia. So like, taking that into consideration, they could be right there like 5. They'd just be hoping for a loss, and then they'd be in. They would have the best loss. Nobody else has lost to Georgia up here. You know what I mean? So that would be wild. It would be what, 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be 5 1-loss teams. Just fighting for a spot in the playoffs. I think they should just emergency meeting and act the 12 team this year, because that would be absolutely insane. Like that the amount of teams sitting right here and the seasons we're having, like I might be just tripping, but I feel like this is, one of the better, all around college football seasons we've had in a long time.
I agree.
A lot of teams have really good teams. It's almost like a little bit more of an even playing field across the board. Maybe transfer portal plays into that. Who knows?
I'd credit a lot of it to the transfer portal. A lot of guys, a lot of teams just got just guys out of nowhere and they got really good.
Yeah, because
Like OU for example, we were 6-7 last year and we got our whole defensive line from the transfer portal. Now we're 10-2.
shit, half our fucking teams on the transfer portal. So I
You
mean,
think you think Dabo ever gets with a program and
he's gonna
accepts the
have to,
transfer
or he's gonna
portal?
get fired.
Get left behind, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna get fired if they have another 8-4 year next, or yeah, 8-4 year next year, but 9 if they win their bowl game. He's done. They're not gonna sit there and just let him, build a team out of high school and hope for the best. It's because his players are just gonna transfer out. They're like, oh, this team fucking sucks. I'm pretty good. I'm gonna go play for South Carolina or LSU or somebody in that general vicinity. Duke having a good year. See, I'm going over here.
That or they just have one good team like every 4 years once all the guys get up to like their senior year.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see Klubnik transferring out. They have a bad year next year. I
I
think
don't even think he's that good, honestly. I don't think Club.
I don't either. He's
no, but he's had a solid year. I think he's his sophomore.
He might.
So
I
Be.
believe so. He's a
he's
sophomore.
got at least one more year. If they have a good year last year, he might leave. But if they have a down year next year, he's probably gone.
I expected more from that offense because they hired a Garrett Riley out of TCU, Lincoln Riley's brother, and I mean they did look pretty good down the stretch, but I was expecting that offense to be crazy when the year started.
Dabo, he gets happy feet with the quarterback spot. Then when they DJ there, he's like flip flopping back and forth, middle of the game. Oh, you're out, you're in, you're not playing and then DJ left. Like, well, come on, what are we doing here?
DJ's in the portal again,
and now he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he's in the portal again.
He could declare for the draft though. He's kind of like a 50-50, but I think he should come back.
Come on to Duke, baby. Let's go.
Bro, I could see him going to like LSU, honestly.
UCLA is a spot because Dante Moore's leaving UCLA as well, which I think is kind of crazy.
I would look at like the roster if I'm him. Like I'd be looking at the UCLA like roster. How much of that defense is coming back? Because that defense is really good, and they're gonna need a really good defense going to the Big Ten. And then if he can go there and maybe they can get him like a couple weapons on offense, yeah, UCLA would be a solid spot. But fuck, man, I wouldn't go to the SEC or the Big Ten. No, nobody should. It's gonna be an absolute fucking gauntlet in those two conferences. There's probably gonna be no undefeated teams out of those two conferences, unless they're the 0-1 Miami Hurricanes roster. It's just too packed now. You're gonna see fucking Vanderbilt never winning a game again.
At least they're good in baseball, though. They got baseball, so
I mean, yeah, I guess. But it's just getting, and then the Big Ten's probably way worse.
Is the last time that Vanderbilt was good was when Franklin was their coach? Has it been that long?
I think it has
probably,
been
yeah.
It's been a long time.
It's just bad for some of those teams. The teams coming in aren't going to find immediate success. Like, look at the teams that transferred into the Big 12. Like, they were all bottom
UCF.
of the conference. All 4 of them?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so.
I think it'll be a little bit better for the Big 10 teams, but Washington with Penix leaving, they're going to the bottom. The USC gonna figure something out. They'll be middle of the pack probably. UCLA probably middle of the pack. Oregon will be up there competing, but Penn State's dropping to middle of the pack. James Franklin gotta go.
He can't get over the top 2
get those
teams,
big games. Yeah, those big games.
I think every week we're like, James Franklin, you gotta go, but they locked they fucked up. They locked him in for, I think he's got 9 more years and a lot of money. And I don't think Penn State's got that Texas A&M money to buy him out. So have fun with that. But it's not my team. But Heisman rankings.
Oh yeah, we'll go into Heisman rankings. to me, it's a 3-man race, but I threw, a 5 and a 4 just to give some guys a shout out. 5, I got Blake Corum. I had an amazing year. He's had 20 plus touchdowns. I actually think like he should win or be invited? No, but we've been doing a top 5 the whole year, so I picked 2 guys that are outside the 3 obvious.
That's interesting.
Guys.
Okay. I got Marvin Harrison set at 5. I think I had him at 4 last week, but they did lose. I mean he didn't have a bad game. He still had 118 yards and touchdowns and a big loss. But the guys ahead of him just are either undefeated, have way greater statistical stats, if you equate the quarterback stats to wide receiver stats. In my opinion, it's really hard to kind of balance those, but it's kind of shitty for him to be playing this year against like these quarterbacks. You got some quarterbacks having incredible years, so he's just kind of like at a disadvantage almost, and he has a bad quarterback. If they had CJ Stroud, it'd probably be CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison, 1 and 2 in some sort of order.
I don't want to talk about CJ Stroud as a Panthers fan. I have to deal with the fact that we drafted the wrong person every week. So bad. He's putting up like Madden numbers, and then Bryce can't even see over the offensive lineman. It's awful.
It's tough. CJ Stroud's probably gonna win Rookie of the Year more than likely.
He should. Yeah.
Yeah. They might make it a solid run in the playoffs. I would not. I don't underestimate that team, but
you never know.
You got anybody locked in at 5? Or are you rocking with like a top 3?
I have Corum in there at number 5. For a while, I kind of had Carson Beck in there, but I've kind of swapped Corum into that 5 spot. So I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I've seen Carson Beck on some stuff. I don't really see any way for him to really make it in there. I think it's locked. I think it's locked. It's already over in my opinion. It's one unless
I think
Penix.
it's the winner of the Oregon-Washington game most likely.
You think you don't think Jaden Daniels has a shot?
He's my number 1 right now.
He's my number
one. That's who I would.
Gotcha.
That's who I would personally vote for. But I think the winner of Penix.
His stats are just fucking insane. Like the man's got almost 4,000 passing yards, 40 passing touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, number 1 QBR, and then like his rushing stats are just. The man's got almost 1,200 rushing yards as a quarterback. I
think there's only 6 other people in history that have the 3,000 1,000 thing, and he's about to have 4,000 1,000. I'd be interested to find out how many people have that.
We looked up. We compared him to Lamar when Lamar won it, and I think he's a little bit short. I don't know about now after this week because we looked at after his ending last week. But I'm pretty sure he's out rushing, the majority of the top running backs in college football. Like let's double check it.
It's pretty crazy.
So Ollie, okay, what does Jaden Daniels have? Fucking 1134.
Yeah.
So
he's already pretty high up there.
He would be like the 12th best running back in college football if he only played running back.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. The dude's crazy.
I think you should win it. I just feel like they're gonna vote Nix or Penix.
And so he's got 50 total touchdowns, 10 rushing, 40 passing. 50. 5-0.
That's about what Kyler Murray put up like his Heisman year.
Mm-hmm.
Like really close to that.
So yeah, that's my one. Spoiler. But Nick's one. We locked our 5s up. I got Ollie Gordon at 4. He climbed his way.
He's had a great year.
So he's also tied for my player of the week with Fafita. So he scored 5 touchdowns in a game. Nobody in Oklahoma State has done this since Barry Sanders played for Oklahoma State. Barry Sanders. That's how long this record 5 touchdowns in a game for.
Yeah, I was watching this game. I had rooting interest in it because I needed OSU to lose. They went to double overtime. Ollie Gordon, he's the Big 12 Player of the Year they announced. Just this past week.
He's having an incredible year.
he didn't even play all the games. Like we went over that. Like he just was limited carries like the first 3 or 4 games.
He's only a sophomore too. What the hell happened? That's not what I was looking for. What's going on here? Okay, I was looking for his receiving. If he has any, okay, he's got 21 total touchdowns. Um, he's having an incredible year. There's zero chance for him to win it. Zero. He might not even get invited, which is crazy. Probably one of the better, running back campaigns we've seen in a good little while. I don't think he's, holding a candle to like Derrick Henry's year or anything like that, but he's only a sophomore. If I'm him, I'm transferring. I'm out. I'm going somewhere with a better offense.
Now, had they not lost that game to UCF, I think he would have
such a
actually
bad
really
loss.
strong. Yeah, he didn't even score in that game. Like, I think
25 yards,
touchdown. Yeah, like
that's terrible.
Make that a win and have him on par with all those other games. We might have a conversation about him.
Or if you just took his average rushing yards a game, and slotted it in on these 4, he'd probably be top 3. Potentially, I don't know. It doesn't really score, a whole lot of touchdowns every game. Minus a couple outliers, 4 and 5 and 3. He's really only averaging 1. So if he was scoring a lot more touchdowns a game too, yeah, it'd benefit him a little more. But yeah, the man's crazy. He's crazy.
Crazy stats. Yeah. Speaking of Oklahoma State, I mean, is Mike Gundy like the Jeff Fisher of college football? Like, I don't know how much underachieving and mediocrity he can roll out every year and still keep his job. It's crazy.
And we thought he was gonna be fired, middle of the year, coming in.
After that South Alabama loss,
a bad loss. Yeah,
we thought he was done, and then he turns around and loses to Iowa State the next week. We was like, if he loses to K-State, it's over. He's gone. And they squeaked that one out. Fucking Will Howard choked that game away. He's a bum. He was our most disappointing player of the week that weekend, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's in the portal too, by the way.
See ya. Don't come to my team.
Yeah, I think Mike Gundy, like, he's in this. I compare him to Dak Prescott almost. Like he's good enough. Like he's good. Like he's good enough to where he's hard to replace, but he's not good enough to get you there.
I mean, they only got 3 losses, so it's like that's like a pretty solid year for Oklahoma State. But you got to look at the losses, like a blowout to UCF, a newcomer in the Big 12, who's bottom of the conference, maybe not the bottom, but bottom 4. Iowa State has Oklahoma State's fucking number, playbook, Mike Gundy's daughter's social security number, everything. So that doesn't surprise me that it was Iowa State, in a year. But this one, this is very bad. That should never happen.
No,
that's like when we lost to fucking Jacksonville State like 2 years ago. I was like, fuck.
I will say, South Alabama is a really solid team. But no, they should not have lost or even got.
They're 6-6. Like that makes it even look worse. If they was like, they had like 8, 9 wins or something like that. Oh, okay, whatever.
Well, I think last year they were like a 9-win team last year. So like at the time of the loss, it didn't look like crazy.
Yeah. But who you got for 4? Anything different?
I have Marvin Harrison. We've already touched on him.
Same.
Okay. Why do you have Marvin Harrison over Ollie? Just better team, better record.
Yeah, better team, pretty much. And I'm a little bit biased against us.
Yeah, you don't even have Ollie Gordon in the 5. Yeah. Fuck him, I guess.
Hey, I was the
he was the first one that was
early. Like
I didn't even know who he was, and the Knicks were like Ollie Gordon. I was like, okay, I pulled up his stats. I was like, God damn. I think it was like maybe right around maybe it was a West Virginia game. Yeah, it was probably that one when he, scored 4 touchdowns, 282. I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Number 3. Like I got Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's where I have Bo Nix as well.
Same.
I don't.
He's having a fantastic year. That interception is crazy.
37-2. That's nuts.
I do not want to see this man win it. Please, God. We
were talking about this last week. Like it just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. Like. See, the thing for me is I think he's obviously I got Michael Penix second, so we'll just do a quick comparison. Passing touchdowns, he's got 5 more. 6 less interceptions, way better QBR, but a little bit more passing yards. What's 7? And then I think he's got a couple more rushing touchdowns. But Penix did beat him, and then if they beat them again, there's 0% chance that Bo Nix should win the Heisman.
Yeah.
There's even if he has slightly better stats than Penix, it shouldn't happen. And then even if they win, even if Oregon beats Washington, how are you gonna like decipher that? Like they're not too far apart. They both got to win against each other. Obviously Oregon would have the Pac-12 championship, so maybe that would boost him up a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think either one of them should win it over Jaden Daniels.
At this point, no.
This is the first year in a long time where like I don't know the winner going into like the ceremony. I feel like it could go to any other, like the winner of Penix Nix or Jaden Daniels.
Well, see, the bad thing for Jaden Daniels is he doesn't play this week.
That's what I think might hurt him because he doesn't have an extra game that they're gonna have.
But like his passing stats compared to them, like he's about 100 less than Bo Nix. 3 more passing touchdowns, 2 more interceptions. He's beaten him in QBR. What does Bo Nix have for rushing touchdowns? Or 6 and 160 yards basically. So it's really not even close. Bo Nix would have to put 5-6 tutties on Washington. I think that could do it potentially because he would probably jump Penix unless Penix has an also really good game. But even then, it's like neck and neck between the 3 of them. It could go either way. Like boom, boom, boom. Like who fucking knows?
Yeah, I think you made a good point. It's one of those years where I don't feel confident in picking anyone. I know who I think we all pick, and I know who I think should get it. But even with that, I have no idea.
Yeah. So
there's so much more to the Heisman than just stats. Like the teams, there's politics to it. There's just a lot that goes into who wins the Heisman.
The voting system's weird. It's weird to me. What is it, like previous Heisman's vote
and like media.
And then the media, and then does fans get a vote in some capacity? I'm pretty sure.
I think they get like a single vote.
I've seen I'm on like a Florida State Facebook page, and fucking people are spamming Jordan Travis on there like go vote, go vote, go vote, and I'm like at this point like it doesn't fucking matter. But I think that was like pre-injury. Even if he didn't get hurt, I don't even know if he'd make it to the ceremony now at this point.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm assuming you guys probably got a combination of Penix, Jaden Daniels 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
Daniels 1, Penix 2.
I think that's definitely reasonable. Man, Penix is fucking insane to me. I've said it before. His throwing motion doesn't make sense in my when I watch him throw it, and I'm like, that's not going anywhere. That's an interception, and it's completely right where it needs to go. And you're just like, how the fuck did he make that throw? And he's a lefty. It just doesn't seem. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It makes me uncomfortable watching him play. And he just slings it too. He's a gunslinger. He almost don't give a fuck. That's where the 8 interceptions come in, I suppose. I don't know. He's gonna be a menace in the NFL, I think, because there hasn't been a good lefty in the NFL in a hot minute.
It's been a minute.
From Tua,
yeah, Tua, and then what before that was fucking Tebow.
Yeah, you can almost say he wasn't good, but I mean,
when Tebow came in, it was like, oh, he's a lefty, he's gonna be trash. But like before Tebow, like who was like the last lefty that came in and had a significant impact on the game? But I don't know.
I can't remember honestly.
So since
Michael Vick,
so since Michael Vick, there's been 2, and then now you got this dude coming in who's arguably better than Tebow and Tua put together. I don't know. It's crazy. He's gonna be a fucking menace, absolute menace. And then
loaded draft class.
Oh man, and then Jaden Daniels, you're like, but this dude gets hit one time out there running like he does, he's gonna die. So he's gonna have to figure out
Well, you just gotta hope that whatever team he ends up going to, that doesn't get the Cam Newton treatment, where I think he's got, even at this stage, he's got better leadership potential than Cam Newton. That was kind of the big thing with him. Like, poor leader, had horrible body language, right? But
I think he's got better potential to go to a better team because he's not going one. It's gonna be Caleb Williams or Michael Penix. It's gonna be a combination of one of them two. I think they're probably the most pro ready, pocket passers.
Mhm.
And
you got Drake May up there as well.
Drake May is fucking
gross.
I don't know why, man. I cannot get on his wagon.
I have a bad feeling that's who the Patriots are gonna pick, and I'm gonna be upset.
I think he has the potential to be good, but there's nothing about him. I'm just like, yeah.
I'm not sold on him. I think he's got great mechanics, and I think he's an exceptional passer. Comes from, obviously, he's got the family lineage with Carolina and everything. But like, I feel like he should be more dominant in the ACC with the schedule that they've played than he has been. There's just really no reason. I mean, like we said, Duke has a pretty solid defense. There's no reason with a third string quarterback that game should have went into double overtime, right? And there's a couple other games like Carolina does this every year.
Virginia.
Oh, Virginia, yeah, and then what was the other one? Georgia Tech. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, their schedule is tailor made for success. But Mac Brown does this stuff. That's what Mac Brown does best. Gene Chizik, how does he have a job? Is it just because he won a championship at a school that I could have won a championship at as the coach with Cam Newton as my quarterback? Gene Chizik's not even a good coordinator. Carolina's defense is bottom of the ACC like every year. Like, what is it? I don't understand. I don't get it.
I don't either. I think Drake May would benefit from going to a team that doesn't need him to start immediately. He would have to sit at least a year, maybe two. Patrick
I'm not convinced Caleb's coming out. Like, I'm really not.
I don't know why he would.
The Bears have the number 1 overall pick.
They're not going to take him. Justin Fields has proven that he can play.
All the mock drafts have them taking Caleb. And if I'm Caleb and that, like, the Bears are seriously about to draft him, I'd be like, why would I go to you when you guys have like Justin Fields?
He could do the Eli thing. He could do the Eli thing. He would. He could do it. I've said a couple times what the Bears need to do, and I think they should do it. They need to trade back, take some teams' entire fucking draft stock, all their picks, and let somebody go get Caleb because I don't think they need him. They need a whole defense. Is what the Bears need. So, all right, Heisman's locked up. Top 3, pretty much. There's basically, short of them all 3 dying on the field in the first snap of the game. I don't see anybody else. They would all 3 have to, get struck by lightning, and Ollie Gordon would have to rush for 500 and like 7 touchdowns, and that's probably it. So moving on. Best performer, game of the week. What's y'all's game of the week? I
have the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, there's a couple of you can consider, and then like you can consider this not being the game of the week based on how kind of bad both of these teams played. Auburn 100% should have won this game. I think Alabama had like a 0.01% chance of winning the game. What the fuck was Auburn doing, man?
What was that coverage at the end?
4th and 30.
Bro.
Prevent defense loses you games. It loses games. That needs to be taken out of playbooks. That dude that caught the touchdowns single covered. We've got fucking like 9 goddamn cornerbacks back there, and there's like what 3 receivers, maybe 4. I don't know. You all have 2 on him. I think Auburn did get away with no, it was Alabama. They got away with a pretty big holding call, I think, on the offensive line. But the fact that you put a spy and it's 4th and 30, like Jalen Milgo, he's gonna run for 30 yards into the end zone. Like, there's no chance. Fucking blitz.
That's classic Hugh Freeze, man.
Make him beat you. Blitz. Bring the house.
Well, they were way too, the 30s. It's too close for a prevent.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get up a lot closer. Yeah, if they're at like the other 20-yard
40,
line, sure, go ahead.
Sure, yeah.
Short of midfield, that's like Hail Mary type prevention type thing, but that's not Hail Mary range. I don't get it. Auburn's coach probably should be fired. They've lost to New Mexico State, blew this game. It maybe at least the defensive coordinator. That motherfucker need to be gone. I don't know who they got, but get rid of him.
Hugh Freeze it's his first year. I think he'll I think his leash is pretty long, especially considering he had success against Alabama, when he was at Ole Miss. And the only reason that he had to come up at Liberty was because of what happened with him at Auburn and
Yeah.
everything, or sorry, at Ole Miss. So I think he'll at least get a couple more years, but once he
And
starts getting his recruits in there, he'll get him turned around.
put me on the defense and just give me the Madden playbook and
There you go.
we would have won. Or not we, they would have won. We if I would have been on on the defensive coordinator spot. Just saying, a fucking blind person could have been like, "Oh, tell me what the the lineup what the offense is lining up in, and let me call a defensive play." That's probably never watched a game of football in his life, and yeah, as long as they understand the rules, a blind person could have called a better defensive coverage. It just doesn't make sense. So, but it was overall it was a good game. I took the spread. I took Alabama to blow Auburn out. I was like, this game's not gonna be close. And
As I
then
said last week, I was like, this
you
could be
did.
like a potential upset.
You did. Auburn fucking with three turnovers is also not gonna do it.
It did make for a classic like college football moment
It
though.
did. In addition to this, Peyton Thorne is also my most disappointing player of the week. Motherfucker got 2 interceptions and 91 passing yards on 5 attempts. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, I'd be like understanding if he had Jalen Milroe rushing stats, 107 yards, but he's not even the leading rusher on the offense. So, what are y'all doing? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. It's like kick six type game. That's like this is very, I don't know, say very close, but it's like same ballpark.
No, this is probably like a top 5 Iron Bowl.
Facts.
I'm a little different on it. Like I'm thinking like this was a really good game for Auburn. Like they shouldn't have even been this close. Like honestly, like if you just look at both of the teams, Auburn should have got destroyed this game, but
Yeah.
they kept it close as a rivalry game. But yeah, that last play, I'm like, what is going on
It's
here?
rough.
But it was a great moment for college football. I hated that happened, but I love moments like that.
I think I'm just a little jaded because Alabama won and I really wanted them to lose. So I think I'm just being a hater. I'll say it. Is what
Can
it
I tell
is.
you what wasn't my game of the week? Iowa, Nebraska. Jesus
Oh
H.
Oh
my
my
Christ.
God.
god,
I
that's
watched like the
terrible.
majority of that game, man. I was a quarterback and an offensive coordinator away from being undefeated.
It's
Like,
crazy.
my God, dude. How they never get a quarterback, how they never have an offense. They have arguably the best defense of college football year in, year out, top three, top five. Uh Playing in the weaker of the two Big Ten conferences. So you have a almost guaranteed shot to the Big Ten championship. Um, and then going forward with the 12 team, you win, you fucking automatically win, or you're automatically in. You get 4 losses and beat Iowa or Ohio State or Michigan, and you're in the fucking playoffs. So like, Iowa's got to do something,
Well,
something.
they're taking the divisions out next year,
Well,
so
yeah, true that, true
they
that.
they
So
they'll
yeah,
never go to
they're
another.
fucked. They're fucked.
It's gonna be Michigan, Ohio State every year.
And let's say what the total offense of that game was, because it probably
Nine
wasn't very much.
9 yards.
264, 257. Nebraska lost that one. They lost that game. They probably should have won. 3 turnovers ain't gonna do it. That like final like minute where like interception. It's just like, oh, I don't want to win. You take it. Oh no, you take it. Like, oh, come on, man. Uh, Question: is this Brock Purdy's brother?
That I don't know.
It may be. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking
Chuba
and I
Purdy.
was
Let me
like,
see.
it's relatively close to Iowa because he played at Iowa State.
Was he also from Arizona?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's the younger brother of
Is
That's
he?
Brock Purdy.
crazy. This man needs to go.
Yeah, yeah. Queen Creek, Arizona. Sure enough.
Interesting.
The man needs to go to a QB camp for the Niners that Brock Purdy is hosting or something. Oh shit! God, the Cowboys are about to lose me money. They're tied 20-20 with the Seahawks going into halftime. 20 to
Oh man.
20. I put
Halftime.
$90 on this game because I had like $90 left in my betting account, and I was like, oh, that's guaranteed win. I'll make $20. Fuck.
That's what you thought.
Fuck. See, every time I bet on anybody on the Cowboys, I always lose. They hate me. That's actually crazy. Man's got 382 yards on the year. What the fuck? I don't think he's played all year.
Yeah,
But
he hasn't really played
okay.
much. I feel bad for Nebraska fans. Like they have the most supportive fan base. They're always selling the crowd out, and it's just not working out. I mean, this is Matt Rule's first year,
Yeah,
but it
I
feels
think he'll
like
get him
they've
turned
actually
around.
regressed a little bit. But
they're,
hopefully, after transfer portal
they're going
recruit,
back to the Big 12, aren't they?
no, they're staying in the Big Ten.
He's
That's a mistake.
Matt's a great college coach. I mean, he's proven it, his tenures in college. But I do have the concern that he is a little bit of like what Larry Brown was to the NBA. Like he turns teams around and then he kind of hops out and goes somewhere else, right? He doesn't stay for too long. So it'd be interesting to see. I would probably think in the next 2 years he'll
He's
have
gonna
them
bounce.
have them as a two-loss team and then roll out.
I would. I don't think Nebraska is one of those teams you can finish with. Especially in the Big Ten.
I think that if they switched conferences, I
They
think
should
they'd be in
have
a lot
left.
better
They should
position.
have left 100%. ACC, Big 12. They
They
would have they'd have competed.
They do have incredible fans, though, and arguably they were the team of the '90s. I mean, from like '91 to '96, they were just unstoppable, and then now it's just like they're like a shell of themselves. I think what was it, Bo Pelini they had he just was like 9-3 every year, and that kind of set the tone. And then they just went, with Scott Frost got there, they just kind of went downhill. So
Man, I thought Scott Frost was gonna be, the dude because
yeah,
he was cooking. I was like, okay,
undefeated,
I was like, this
man.
dude is good. Uh, how the
And they
turntables
would
for
always lose by just like a
Oh
score
yeah,
every time. It was
yeah,
sad to
it was
watch.
very weird. Where did he go? Is he even coaching anywhere?
Not as far as I know. He's probably
I'm
he's
not
probably taking a year
sure.
off, or maybe he's like a offensive coordinator
I,
somewhere or
Man, if I'm
something.
him, I'm going to like a solid group of 5 team
Bring
with
him
like
to Duke, baby. Let's go.
I feel like he could have solid success. I mean, honestly, like the ACC is pretty much not a very solid conference, top to
It's not
bottom.
great.
There's like 4 teams really that kind of compete year in, year out. It's it hasn't been us for the last 10, but it's us. We'll see what Clemson's doing. North Carolina's done. We'll see what Duke does, and
State's on a
then
tear right now, man. NC State, they're
fucking
they're on a little run.
SMU's about to come in and fuck some people up. That's what Nick and I think.
Hey, I'm mad at SMU. Let me talk about SMU for a minute, man. So,
Okay, let's go.
I'm at the Duke game last week, right? I got my seats right on the field there. I'm having a great time, and every time there's a timeout, I'm looking up, I'm seeing the scores, and I see that SMU's up like 52-14 at halftime, right? And then I find out, and I'm holding on to the hope. I know what we talked about earlier with SMU and Tulane. Was holding on to the hope that SMU beats Tulane. SMU's a two-loss team. Liberty goes undefeated, beats New Mexico State. Liberty gets that New Year's Six bowl, right? Now I'm not sure that's going to happen because I don't know if you're tracking or not, but at the very end of the first half, so when they're already up like 49 to fucking 14 against Navy, SMU's quarterback breaks his leg, and so I'm just trying to figure out why in the fuck he's in the game. Why is he in the game? Why is he in the game? Not happy about it.
No, it was
Yeah,
crazy. Is he's probably their best. He from what I've been told, he's one of their best quarterback prospects ever. I
that's
can't. What's his name? Preston Stone or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
that's
him out of the
tough.
game
That's
after like
tough.
the first quarter, bro. Get him out of there.
Yeah, for sure. And if the backup comes in, they start, fucking get us points. Okay, we can put him back in. He's probably
Sure.
still warm. Yeah, okay. Your third quarter, beginning of the fourth, get your ass back out there, go score, go score a touchdown. That sucks. That sucks. I also not new to broken legs, so god
Need
damn.
Tulane to lose to give us a shot.
Who's Tulane? Who are they playing?
They'll
It's
be playing
SM
SMU in the championship.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's right. That's right. I
and
don't
SMU is
know.
not ranked on the playoff rankings, but they're ranked on the AP pool.
Yeah,
I
true.
think.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
right there, 10 and
I
2.
mean, they would obviously have a better win if they take out Tulane than Liberty. But I mean,
So
what I'm holding on to hope is Liberty's already smacked New Mexico State once. Let's say they do it again, right? New Mexico State went to Auburn. Now Auburn's not a great SEC team, but they destroyed them. So I'm hoping those 2 wins against New Mexico State get Liberty enough credit to take over a two-loss SMU team if that were to happen, but probably not.
So hypothetically, say Tulane does lose, right?
Hmm.
Liberty takes that, New Year's Six spot. Who do you think they play?
I say like probably like Texas or somebody, man.
You think they got a shot?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think they're
Like
like boy.
against any team, probably 10 or above.
And I don't want to say this to hurt your feelings. I don't think they're Boise State against Oklahoma good, but I
That was
think
a crazy Boise State team, to be
the
fair.
offense can compete with almost anyone. The offense can. The defense, that's where it gets a little tricky. That they actually lead the nation in team interceptions, but they're definitely like a bend don't break defense. Like they're going to give
Yeah,
up some points for sure. So I don't know.
shootout.
It's hard to say. It's all about matchups. Jamie Chadwell is an incredible coach. I mean, obviously that a couple years ago when Malik was quarterback in Liberty and they went 12-1, they played undefeated Coastal Carolina team in that Cure Bowl that went into overtime, and Chadwell was the coach of that team. So I mean, he's been great everywhere he's been. I mean, he was high on the list for that Texas A&M position. I know that he's on a new position too, so he's going to be one of those guys that just does well wherever he goes. So we'll see.
Man, I think you guys don't want Penn State. That defense is fucking insane.
Yeah, they're good.
Their offense still garbage. I still stand by the fact that they're outside of like probably three teams, worst offense in the top 25. Missouri would be a good matchup. Yeah, Bama is probably gonna have two losses, so that could be interesting because a lot of their players probably don't even play. Uh, Texas probably not. I don't know. I don't know. Would you guys be playing like a two-loss team or like one of these one-loss teams? I don't know
I
how it's gonna
think
shake out.
Texas and let's see, Texas and where am I at here? Where am I at? I'm trying to figure out here.
Got
Texas
Texas
and Penn
here.
State are the ones that I'm seeing the most on projections. Texas and Penn State. Those are the two that I'm seeing the most.
I would hope for Texas because Quinn Ewers probably doesn't play in the game.
Yeah, and
With
that's
it,
that's the other thing to think about. Like there are a lot. Some of these teams might. I mean, it is a New Year's Six bowl, but some of these players might sit.
yeah,
So
he definitely doesn't play with his injury history. No point in him playing in some fucking bowl game. That's really not going to matter if they don't make the playoffs. Texas fans really don't give a shit.
sure.
Uh, Bama, I could see Milrow playing potentially. Missouri, more than likely all their players play. Penn State, that like I said, that defense is fucking insane. I would not want to play Penn State unless
Yes, solid defense for sure.
unless your defense can stop their offense. But who fucking knows? So
Whoever has the best rush defense, that's probably the team Liberty doesn't want to play because I think Liberty is either. Well, for a while, Air Force was number one, but I think Liberty's number one in rush offense in the country right now, and
that's
so
dope. That's dope.
they would want to play a team that isn't a great rush defense to continue that. So
Ohio State.
there you go.
I'm gonna imagine most of Texas's D line doesn't start because I think they're all probably heading to the draft. I would say Texas is probably the team you guys want to pull. It's gonna be like fucking who's Quinn Ewers backup because Arch Manning's probably not gonna play. It'd be the backup.
I just don't think it probably happens now. I think that ship might have sailed last week with
Yeah.
UTSA with San Antonio. I really needed them to beat Tulane, so I think either way, it's probably not going to happen. Now Liberty probably gets relegated to like the New Orleans Bowl or like the Cure Bowl or the Birmingham Bowl or some crap like that. So
I mean, you guys would still probably pull an interesting team.
oh yeah, sure.
It'd still
Hopefully.
be fun. It might work out better for y'all. You pull like LSU or something. Jaden Daniels ain't gonna play. Like that defense is non-existent, so you guys would probably blow them out.
Yeah, that'd be solid, man.
Uh, did you have a different game of the week? Or did you also have Bama Auburn?
Nah, I had that one as well. Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it was pretty acceptable. The only other couple games that I thought would even compete would probably be like Oklahoma State and BYU. I think that went at like double overtime. And
Yeah.
then I think the Louisville Kentucky game was pretty good. It had that rivalry aspect. It just didn't end as good as the Alabama Auburn game did. That
Facts.
kind of pushed it over the edge to me. So
Facts. Okay, we got best performance by a team. I had Arizona, which is like a interesting pick. I mean, they didn't play a good team. Arizona State's, they're not a good year, but they've been kind of like a trap team in the Pac-12 a little bit. They gave Washington all they can handle, but my boy,
my player of the week was Fafita.
my co-player of the week, Fafita, motherfucker threw for 527, 5 touchdowns, 619 total yards of offense. That's crazy. On the road, I don't even know. Did this game sell out? Yeah, sold out.
100%.
Sold out at Arizona State. Look at that. It's that's a decent stadium. I like that actually. Um, yeah, man, Fafita is crazy, dude.
Yeah. Look at those numbers, dude. That's nuts.
Actually insane. And then the defense even, showed up. And Arizona State, or not Arizona State, Arizona has like a really solid defense. Like they were shutting that. So we said this when Arizona's played USC. Arizona was like the first team to like crack the code on USC's offense. They shut Caleb Williams down. They was getting after him. He was rattled. I think he threw like 3 interceptions that game or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Fafita did lose them that game, throwing that pick six because they only lost by like 1 score. And was that his first start or was it the week before?
That was his second start. His first start was with Washington.
Yeah, so it's only his second start. Motherfucker throws a pick six. His best receiver was hurt, McMillan. That dude also had 266 receiving, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, this Arizona State team is sneaky. They're gonna get in a bowl game and beat the dog shit out of somebody, and I'm here for it. As long as it's not my team. Please
It's
God.
looking like it's going to be my team. Actually, all the projections are showing
That's tough.
Oklahoma versus Arizona.
Gabriel's probably not gonna play.
He probably will. I don't see him not
You
playing.
think so?
I think mostly everybody's gonna play. Well, actually, no. Our whole O line's not gonna play because they're all leaving. And we got some guys in the portal now, like Tawi Walker's in the portal. So
Oh, that sucks.
we're probably would lose that game just depending on who all plays.
To be honest with you, like I don't think it'd be close. If
I don't think it'll be a blowout, honestly, because
I think it could be like this, honestly. Like I'm
I don't think
you don't think so?
I don't think Fafita's seen a defense as complex as Venables' defense.
OU's defense is, really, really solid at times, but then like other times I'm watching them, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing out there? Just wide open receivers and shit. I don't know if it's like a lack of like player discipline, talent on the perimeter.
I think it's the injuries because they
But
started
yeah,
off really solid.
you guys do have like a like the number one turnover defense, I believe.
Yeah, number one on turnovers. Our run defense the past few games has been really bad.
I don't think Arizona really runs like that. Yeah, 66 yards. They just let that dude air it out. Good luck. That's all I gotta say.
It depends on which what corners are playing,
which defense
who's
shows
entered the
up.
portal. But
Sure.
I think Arizona probably would win because it'd be a bigger deal to them.
It'd be a fun game to watch. Who do you guys got for best performance by team? If anything different.
I went with Oregon.
Okay.
Against Oregon State. That was the first win from them this year that really kind of sold me on them. That just destroyed Oregon State.
They did, man. I was so fucking disappointed because it was like 14-7 pretty early if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 14-7. Pushing halftime. And so I switched over because it was like 14-7. There's like less than a minute left. I was like, okay, going into halftime. I come back after halftime and it's 21-7. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And Oregon scored with less than 50 seconds left. And then I was like, okay, this game's over. And then they proceeded to not score any points the rest of the game. So I don't know if that's DJ's fault. He didn't have not really a great game. The coach did bounce, so maybe he was just kind of like, fuck it. Maybe he knew he was already leaving. I doubt it. That seems really shady, but I don't know, man. I was pretty locked into Oregon State going into the year, and I was like, okay, they got a chance. They started out really solid, and then we started seeing how the Pac-12 is shaking out, and I was like, okay, Oregon State might have a chance. We was like, okay, it's like them and Utah, best defenses in the Pac-12. Oregon State probably has the better offense. They could win the thing. Fucking, they just absolutely depressing. Absolutely depressing.
No, this was a game I think throughout the whole season I was like Oregon State is gonna pull off this upset. That's like kind of like the Auburn game. I just kept saying it. Kind of like the Florida game. Kind of like Bedlam. I was expecting this to be a really close game, and it wasn't. It looks like what was I can't remember the coach's name. Jonathan Smith, I believe is his name.
He went to Michigan State.
Michigan
right?
State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
It's looking like he doesn't want DJ. He wants the backup Childs.
That's crazy.
to come with
That's
them.
crazy. I'd be pissed if I was DJ.
So I don't. Yeah, DJ's not going to Michigan State, from my understanding at least.
Okay. You think this game would be different if it was at Oregon State?
And Corvallis, I think so.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You
I think
Oregon
Oregon still wins, but
you think
it'd be a
Oregon
lot
still wins?
closer.
Yeah.
Okay. You got anything for
Performance of the week.
yeah, anything different?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I kind of went back and forth with this one, but I figured since I'm kind of bringing the group of five aspect, as much as it pains me to say, I'm gonna go with Tulane because I think that it was a big performance for them. San Antonio was undefeated going into that game.
Yeah, man.
And so they kind of answered the bell on that one and really probably cemented their assuming that they win the conference championship, cemented their New Year's Six bowl. So as much as I hate to
Five
say it,
turnovers. God damn.
yeah,
That might be fucking defensive performance of the week right there. I don't
for
even
sure.
know. No, absolutely not. I think I got the best defensive performance. We might have similar picks, but yeah, 5 turnovers is crazy. You're not, and the game is actually relatively close, like 13 points off 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like,
Time of possession's
pretty
very even.
It's
Yeah.
pretty bad, honestly. Like UTSA probably should have won this game.
Yeah.
Where are all these turnovers? Okay, 2 from the quarterback, 3 fumbles. Yeah, probably 3 fumbles. That's depressing. Very,
Yeah,
very depressing.
I honestly think from the eye test, I think SMU is a better team than Tulane, and I don't know if they're going to get a chance to show it because they took their foot off the pedal last week against Navy. I mean, they were up 52-14 at halftime, ended up winning 59-14, but they had their backup in there and they looked like a completely different team in the second half. But they were running the ball a lot more, and they were being careful. So we'll see
Trying to
what they
run the
can
clock
do.
out.
Yeah.
Nick's been pretty high on SMU. I was like, unknowledgeable on SMU. He's like, they're like top 3 offense in the country. And I was like, what?
They're solid.
Because they
I saw them in person because I watched them play OU, and I was like, oh, this team's good.
Yeah,
like, this team's really good, and they're pretty good on defense too. They're not bad on defense either.
That's all I'm saying. Like when they come in the ACC next year, they're gonna fuck some people up. They're probably top 4 or 5 team. Maybe not first year, but
They definitely fit the academic makeup of the ACC. The ACC's got a lot of really strong academic schools. SMU's going to fit right in with that.
Speaking of the additions of like Cal and SMU, what do you think they'll travel like going coast to coast to like play Cal on like a road game? You think that's going to play into give them some sort of advantage because they're going to have to travel like fucking 4 days early to get.
Yeah,
I
definitely think it's tough, and I'm not crazy about it because
I think we have Cal on our schedule next year, but I don't know if it's home or away.
I wasn't crazy about every edition that we've had, and
they're kind of weak. Other than SMU, cool. Cal, trash.
Yeah,
we could have done better. Who else really?
Stanford was
Stanford.
Right.
That's really good for academics. They're
Sure.
they're good. They're good in a lot of other things. And
water polo, women's soccer,
women's basketball. Yeah.
To be fair, their football team this year was pretty solid. Contrary to the record, that wide receiver, Adam Abayu or some shit like that. That dude's fucking insane. He is crazy good. I remember we watched him play Colorado, and he was cooking them. They ran the same play like 6 times in a row.
On Travis Hunter for the most part.
Travis Hunter. It was who knows if he's really what he is, but he was also coming back from an injury. But he absolutely shit on him, and that touchdown where he caught it like over the back of his head and walked him into the end zone with him was one of the crazier plays I've seen all year.
It's pretty wild.
That guy's crazy. So yeah, Stanford, they've had some dudes. They just ever since Andrew Luck, it's been nothing for them. And then who was their coach? They had a really solid coach.
Yeah.
I don't know why I want to say Lovie
Smith, the guy from last year.
No, I know what he looks like. I just can't think of his.
Like back when they had Andrew Luck, he was there for a long time.
They had Jim Harbaugh, then they had David Shaw.
David Shaw. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know why I was thinking of Lovie Smith. Fucking stupid.
Harbaugh's the one that started everything, getting upsets against those USC teams. Man, he kind of got it started.
So yeah, it's tough days for Stanford, but I think they had an interesting year. They could have some success in the ACC.
Oh,
I don't know how
sure.
much. I think they could beat, like the bottom five teams kind of year in, year out, and maybe pull an upset on like North Carolina every now and again or something like that. But
Hopefully. That'd be great.
I don't know. And then there's new teams kind of coming up. Georgia Tech's on the rise. That team terrifies me.
Georgia
Eh,
Tech is weird, man. They
They
look really
terrify me.
competitive against Georgia. They beat Carolina. They've beaten some other teams, and then they lost at home, got destroyed by like Bowling Green State. They're a very strange team to me. I don't know what to think of Georgia Tech, but I think the future is bright for them for sure.
They do got I think Haynes King's probably done there. Is he a senior?
I believe so.
So yeah, they're gonna have to find a replacement for him. I think they honestly got really lucky getting him from A&M. But
I think Miami is going to be on the downslide. They're just something's not right in Miami right now.
Mm.
With a Tyler Van Dyke transferring out, and there was like another guy transferring out.
well, they got that
And
freshman quarterback. He came in and he was cooking our ass. So
yeah, I mean that might be why Van Dyke's leaving. I
and
don't know.
Van Dyke's his like interception to touchdown ratio was his like the last like back half of the year was absolutely crazy. That dude was turning the ball over like twice a game.
It's just
So
weird to see a lot of people leave Miami all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
It's just not a destination like it used to be, man.
well, they don't even have that stadium that's their own. They don't sell it. It's an NFL stadium they play in. It's
It is.
impossible for them to sell that
No,
motherfucker
they
out.
need a smaller stadium with a smaller capacity so they could sell out and just
Uh,
a lot better.
hey, we'll take all their players. So we'll take them. Come on over.
They're like Nebraska. They're just not. They
Taps.
once were one of the greatest programs, and I just don't see them getting back to it.
Most disappointing performance at Auburn. You guys have anything different?
I had Louisville.
That's who I had to.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. That really might have fucked us really bad. Louisville losing. I hope not, but it's fucking Devin Leary's best game of the year probably. All fucking Ray all day Davis. That dude's really good.
The
Uh,
turnovers, man.
yeah, turnovers. That's every time we look at these games, I scroll all the way down. That's the first thing I look at. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, that's why they lost because
Yeah, because
three
look at
turn.
the time of possession, look at the total yards. There's no
Yeah,
reason they
man.
should have lost that game.
Yeah, they're probably turning it over in their own portion of the field. Let's see if I didn't watch this. Did you guys watch this game?
I
No,
watched
I
little
haven't
bits of it.
watched
It
it
was
yet.
at the same time as the Duke game, so I was watching a little bit on my phone. But I will say that Brom's done a really, really great job coming back there and kind of taking his alma mater and turning him around. But I would like to see what he does with their schedule's been pretty favorable. They've
Oh,
played
for sure. They
some of the
played
tough
nobody.
games, yeah, at home, and they've played some
Yeah.
of the easy games away and stuff. So I think we'll really see more what they're made of next year.
Yeah, so they fumble that, their own fucking 31-47. So good field position for Kentucky. Back-to-back fumbles. Uh their own 35 and they turn it over on downs.
Hey, think about how much changed with this game though, right? Okay, so I don't know if you guys are tracking, but it was said like before this game that essentially Stoops had been hired for the Texas A&M job, and he had it for
Yeah,
2 hours. And then after they won this big emotional game against their biggest rival, and he's watching his players celebrate and just cry and be in joy. He's like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave. So he tells them no, and then they swoop in and get Elko. I mean, that changed the face of like three programs all in just
Facts.
one game.
And I think Stoops, I mean, Nick and I was talking about this because I was like, the Texas A&M fans didn't want Stoops. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, that dude's good. He was our
Good
defensive
coach.
coordinator, like when we won our national championship. Like,
Very
he's
good
done
coach.
more with less. Yeah, he's
he
done
can
more with
he can
less.
he can coach a motherfucking defense, and
Oh yeah.
Kentucky's had a really competitive defense since he's been there. It's really been their offense and QB spot that's kind of been their downfall. And I honestly thought Kentucky this year with Devin Leary was going to be really good, but Devin Leary took a whole fucking dump just like Sam Hartman did. So it's a little weird, but yeah, Stoops he's very, very good. He can build a team. He can bring a team back from fucking the edge of nothing. Kentucky, for example. Uh, but Elko, I guess we can hop into that real quick if you want, since we're already discussing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a very good hire for
Oh, it's
A&M.
a great hire. Yeah.
Elko is his that defense was fucking insane. That's probably one of the nastiest defenses I've seen in a long time. And that's partially, 3/4 of why I'm saying, if Riley Leonard's healthy, we would have lost because they had our number. We could not do shit. And then pretty much when Riley Leonard completely went out is when we, took control. But man, I was like, we're fucked. So and yeah, Duke was on fire. They was suffocating everybody. So
I will say I think it's been the schedule's been pretty tough. I think we probably had the toughest schedule in the conference this year because you looked, they obviously had to play Florida State on the road. They did get Clemson at home, which was helpful. Then they had Louisville on the road. They had Carolina on the road. And obviously they had Notre Dame in there as well. So their schedule as conference wise, as far as the road games, was
okay.
pretty challenging.
Did Riley Leonard get hurt in the Notre Dame game?
No, so he was good in the well, actually no, he did get hurt at the very end, the very last play in the Notre Dame game.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, you guys probably, I don't know why I thought you guys would go undefeated with him, healthy, because you guys would be one loss team
Yeah,
probably.
that was a loss anyway. Like we took the
Um,
lead 14-13 and then
yeah.
they drove down the field and scored at the end.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys lost, win. You guys would have beat us. Probably would have beat Louisville. That game would have been a dub, and then definitely be able to beat Georgia
The
or
Carolina
Virginia.
game should have been a dub anyway because I don't know if you guys watched that game,
I
but
I, I did.
at the end of regulation, we came down where our cornerback came down with a receiver, and they both had the ball, and then he got up and our cornerback had the ball in his hand. I mean, he picked it off, and they didn't even review it or anything. They just called it a reception for Carolina, and that essentially would have ended the game right there. And pretty pissed off about that. It's the second year in a row that Duke Carolina games ended with some bullshit. So
Controversy.
last year, we're playing in Durham. Carolina comes down the field. Drake May hits a receiver in the corner of the end zone with like 2 seconds left to win the game. But upon further review, that receiver stepped out of bounds, and thus became ineligible to come back inbounds, and they didn't call it. So just 2 years in a row, man. I'm like, come on, can we just not have
Dude,
this crap?
ACC refs are bottom
Oh,
bottom
They're
of
terrible
the
officials.
worst.
and it's the crazy thing is like you could be playing an out of conference team, have ACC refs, and you're like, oh, okay, we should be good. Fuck no. Like we had ACC refs against Florida, and they were doing everything that they could to lose us that game.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. Like, give it a little bit of conference bias. Come on, man. Like, fuck, dude. If
There
you're
was
gonna
a
if
there
you're
was
gonna
a
call
really
the
bad
game,
play in the game. So I think I sent you some pictures and showed you kind of where my seat was. I was in the corner of the end zone, right? And there was a play where we had Pitt backed up and tackled him in the end zone, clear safety, right? And we're all like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then they just literally line him back up and go again. I'm like, that where's the safety? Like that was clearly a safety. And they
yeah,
showed it again and everyone's booing because it's like it wasn't even debatable. It was such a
I have
safety
to
and
go
they didn't
pee
call
real
it.
quick.
And at the time it was like, a competitive point in the game where it still really mattered and had
Yeah.
it, made a difference in the game, I probably would have been more upset. But I just, going back to the ACC refs, they're just horrendous, man. Bad.
Yeah, Jaden always said that, and I started, really paying attention this year, and I think they probably are the worst in college football, at least out of the Power Five.
Sure.
I don't watch a whole lot of Group of Five football. I mean, the Big 12 refs, like for us in Texas, have been pretty awful just because they're upset that we're leaving the conference. They're
Yeah.
upset that because I was watching the Texas Iowa State game, and like I'm rooting for Iowa State, but I just like couldn't help but be like, damn, Texas is just not getting any call their way. They had 2 scores removed from refs just taking the score off because of a penalty. And I'm just like, Jesus, man. Like
Yeah,
just
I was
amount
I
of
was actually
stuff like
looking.
that happens.
Yeah, I was looking to see if there was going to be any kind of repercussions from the league because I remember as back in what was it was like 2015 or whatever, and Duke was playing Miami, and Duke comes down the field, takes the lead, and Miami. You've probably seen the play before. Miami, we kick off to them, and they do like 100 laterals and run it back to
Oh
him.
yeah.
And then there's like 5 blocks in the back, and then there's like one thing where the guy's knees down and he's got the ball in his hand, and it's like, what are they looking? They reviewed it for like 20 minutes and still got it wrong, and I was like, bro, like, what are we doing? It happens every year, some way, shape, or form.
No, that's the worst when they review it and then they still get it wrong.
Yeah, super.
I can understand it in like the game speed, like in the heat of the moment, not catching some shit, but you review it and it's still wrong. there's something sketchy going on there. I feel like.
Oh yeah, for
And my
sure, for sure.
fucking ears are killing me.
Are they?
It's got
Probably
a hearing.
getting sick,
Nah,
bro.
I got hearing aids and fucking
Oh yeah,
they fucking with me. Especially with the headphones on them. And
they're
then
working too good.
I was out on the line fucking an hour long V fuel and I still didn't finish before I got relieved and like fucking the wearing them and over the years and the goddamn air crash. Like, I was just like,
Oh
fuck, my ears
God,
are killing me, and it's cold. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
that sounds terrible, man. Hour-long defuel. Oh,
But it was like they went from like 170 down to like a 90 or some stupid shit.
oh my gosh.
I don't know if you remember this. This is probably like the worst slightly off topic or super off topic. Sorry. So we're on the topic. It was in Dover. It was literally the worst run I've ever taken. We had that big snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go out for a C-17D fuel. It was literally going from like it was like completely full, completely empty. Flight lines, you can't even see the lines. Pit's frozen shut. So we're out there banging on the pit with the chocks, trying to get the shit fucking open. And I think I was out there for like three and a half hours. Bunny suit. I couldn't put my
Oh
feet.
man. Uh,
It was absolutely miserable.
my,
Arguably worst run of my career so far.
my first base was Minot, so that was like every day.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it was terrible.
Yeah, I ain't been there, so but
A little cold.
most disappointing player of the week. I had Peyton Thorne at Auburn. You
I
guys,
had a Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord. Okay, that's definitely
I mean,
reasonable. I think he had two
he lost the
interceptions.
game at like that last drive.
He did. He's the reason why they lost the game.
You
They
can't
was
you can't
driving too, man. Like they were driving. I mean, he threw for 271, but like he started out really, really kind of shaky. I think he threw an interception, in the first half, super early, if I'm not mistaken. God, he had a better game than JJ McCarthy. If you take the interceptions out, they should have won. They should have won. They was driving, motherfucker, complete bad pass, straight interception. I was like, "What are you doing?"
No, and it was right after that review, like the last play, like there was like that review. I can't even remember really what happened, but like it went in Ohio State's favor, and they snapped the ball, and he just throws a pick. I'm like, bro, what are
Man,
you?
I want to say both his interceptions were he was throwing to Harrison. I'm
He
not
was trying.
wrong.
He was trying to force it to him. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it's more accurate. Yeah, you can force all the balls you want to that man, but you got to be at least accurate. But
I still think he has potential, but this was.
he's a junior, so he's got one more year left. He's not the guy. He's not the answer. Unless they're gonna have a down year next year. They more than likely because Harrison's gone. I'm pretty sure Buka's gone. Travion Henderson's gone. I feel like a good bit of that defense is gone.
I'm surprised Knowles hasn't taken up a head coaching position.
He might go to Duke, man.
Yeah, Jim Knowles he's very good.
I know I've said that joking a bunch of times, but he was a defensive coordinator for a while under Cutcliffe at Duke, so I would actually really prefer that if he came back. We were pretty solid when he was there.
The crazy thing is, a lot of the fucking Ohio State fans are like, "Oh, we lost because of Jim Knowles," and I'm like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You lost because you got a trash quarterback that's got happy feet."
Yeah.
Whatever, though. I mean, they had more yards than Michigan, just 2 turnovers, and then that two turnovers probably took them out of possession.
Yeah,
Majority.
I mean, because if they could have just got field goals on both those drives where they threw the interceptions, it's going to overtime.
Yep. And then there was a missed field goal in this game? Did Michigan miss one? I might be thinking of the Florida game.
I think Ohio State missed one. It was like early in the game, I think, like maybe second quarter. I remember Ohio State missing one because I was like, damn, that goalpost blends in with all the yellow in the crowd.
Yeah, missed field. It was Ohio State. Yeah, I'm getting confused with Florida State. Man, these games feel like a fucking lifetime ago.
Yeah,
don't they?
It was
like
just last week. Yeah,
they do.
It was like 5 days ago, but like shit, man. Because we normally record on Tuesday if we can, and then if not, like we try to do Wednesday, but we'll occasionally do Thursday.
I think we've done Thursday for like the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah, but like it's hard to like remember the games because it feels so long ago. Like if you don't have like super detailed notes, and that's just not the way I roll. I I improv and just talk out my ass. So, and Nick's definitely the more detailed note guy.
Not the past few weeks though. I've been slacking a little bit just because we're getting down to where there's less and less
Yeah.
to talk about because we kind of already know.
I just like to get drunk and talk shit. All right. Do you have anything different, Sheldon?
Actually, a DJ. I just thought
Mm.
the moment of that game that wasn't fantastic. I want to say for on the feet, it was like 13 yards, 7 attempts, not very great. And then obviously, he had a couple hundred yards passing, but that interception was pretty detrimental. And
Yeah.
just the gravity of that game, I don't feel like that was a great performance.
Yeah. I mean, he played better than he did against Washington, so
True.
take that for what you will. But and then that Washington game, so like Washington didn't score a single point in the second half, and then like Oregon State started coming back, and Nick's like, I don't think he's got it in him because they had one drive left to go down and just get in field goal range, and I was kind of scared. I was like, please God, let Washington win this game. I want my bet to win. I need my bets to hit. And he's like, yeah, I don't think he got it in him, and sure enough, ain't got it in him. He's not that guy.
He's like I think he's just average, you know what I mean? Like I don't think
I agree.
he's ever gonna be great. I don't think he's bad. I know a lot of people say he's bad. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think
I think
he's not
got
remarkable.
I think he's got good like I don't want to say intangibles. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Not
that's a
mechan
word.
Yeah, I think he's got like he's got the frame. He's 6'4", 252. Like because I was about to say like if he went to the NFL, if he declared for the draft, like I don't think anybody would pick him. But I think that's probably false because like he's very fucking big. He can throw the ball. He can run. He just needs a little work. And I don't know if he wants to, come back for another year and put in that work for another team, his third team in 3 years. Uh, I don't know. Compared to where he could go to the league and potentially get on a solid contender, some solid coaches, sit behind somebody, learn some shit, um, and maybe compete for a job. I don't know. I don't know what he'd do.
I think
It's
his
weird.
size is definitely an attractive trait.
Exactly.
I feel like in the combine he'd probably do pretty well.
Yep.
So
That
yeah,
could
I
raise his
think
stock up.
have a
Maybe
really
put
good
him in
shot.
like the, fourth, fifth round potentially.
Hmm.
There's 0% chance he goes higher than that unless somebody's just completely sold on him and he's like, he fits my team
That's what I
perfectly.
love about the combine though, is like sometimes somebody will just have a great combine and like
John Ross.
GMs will just lose their mind. I don't even
John
think
Ross.
the combine's like I don't even think it's like you got game film. Why who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way more important than this dude running the 40-yard dash. You're like, damn, that dude broke the record. Yeah. We're drafting him, and then the Walker gets out there and can't catch a ball. You're like, oh, okay, cool, sick.
Only we could have seen this.
Yeah. If there's only some game film, we definitely didn't watch any of that. We just seen his 40, and we're like, the Raiders were like, let's get that guy, fucking Mark Davis, idiot. Uh, Player of the weeks. I think we did that. Disappointing player. We did the Heisman. Defensive team performance. Who y'all got?
I forgot to do that again. Like I keep forgetting that one.
I had Penn State.
Yeah, I think it's
Yo,
That's
look at
pretty. Yeah,
this
that's a
shit,
good
bro.
one. Yeah.
53 yards of total offense. 53. They had the ball for
that's
24 minutes. Like that's
insane.
fucking insane. And I'm pretty sure almost all of this came on like Penn or Michigan State's like first drive, if I'm not mistaken. Let's
That
see.
doesn't even seem possible to have the ball for that long
Okay,
and only have 53 yards.
46 yards of their shit came on the first drive and they threw an interception.
So that means they got less than 10 yards the rest of the game.
8, -11, 29, -2, -13, 1, 1, -11, -19, -2, -4. That's what I'm saying. Like this Penn State defense is fucking crazy
No,
good,
it's so
man.
nasty. I thought for sure they were gonna be either one, Michigan or Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like one of the two.
Hmm.
I think if Drew Aller was like had another year under his belt, this would have been the team to do it. But they're about to lose a good bit of these dudes on the defense of the league, uh, especially on that D line. So I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have to definitely reload that. They need a wide receiver. They have no they have no dude on the perimeter to throw to. It's basically just Singleton on the offense, and he's their leading receiver. Um, I'm pretty sure he's a running back. Yeah, he's the running back. The running back's the leading receiver. It doesn't make sense. How does Penn State, a premier program, not have a number one receiver that can compete against top defenses? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me.
Not at all.
James Franklin is a fraud. Dude's a bot. He's out there just kind of like
Collecting 10-win seasons like it's going out of style.
I mean, like the teams that they've played, man, like the defense is like that's all you need. You just need the defense. You got West Virginia at home, blowout, Delaware, Illinois, who has a solid defense, cool. Blew out Iowa, which is actually very surprising. Northwestern, Mass, barely lost to Ohio State, barely won against Indiana, blew out Maryland, barely lose to Michigan, blow out Rutgers, blow out Michigan State. Like they have nobody to like tune the team up before they get into these big matchups. Like that was kind of like what we was talking about, before they went into Ohio State. That's what we talked about Michigan before they went into Ohio State. There's no big test to test the team. There's no tune up games other than these shitty out of conference games that are blowouts. Like you're not being challenged. You don't really know what you got, and then you roll into these big games and you get fucking shit on. And to be fair, they didn't get shit on. They lost by 9 and 8. I don't know what Penn State's gonna do. They need to do something.
No, is Penn State just that type of program where they're okay with 10 wins? Like,
no, they're not, but they are at the same time.
like it kind of seems like they are. It's starting to get to that point. I'm like, are they just satisfied with 10 wins? Because some schools are like that.
I think
you get 10, like Iowa, 10 wins. That's great there.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to get a little greedy. I think they're like, they're not so happy with the 10 wins. They at least want, a win against Penn State or Ohio State, or not Penn State, Michigan or Ohio State. I think, if they got 10 wins with one of those included, I think they'd be happy. But
Sure.
The consecutive years of them losing to both of those teams.
Kind of like a similar situation with Ryan Day, where he's done a great job, but
exactly.
he's not getting it done against Michigan.
Exactly, same thing. But it's a little worse. Listen to both of them.
Yeah, because you're losing to both.
And if Ohio State was losing to Penn State and Michigan every year, he'd be done 100% gone. I don't see why James Franklin's not in that same category.
I think honestly, they're probably just happy that the program didn't get the death penalty back when all the Sandusky stuff happened.
They should. Man, I was reading into that when they was playing this past weekend against Michigan State. I was like, what happened in that again? I was like, literally, the game was up, and I was just sitting there on like Wikipedia, like reading, like that shit was crazy.
No, there's a movie about it. Al Pacino plays Joe Paterno. Really good movie. I recommend it.
Huh.
What's it called?
I think it's just called Paterno or something like that.
I had to Google it.
Yeah, it was a really solid movie. Kind of showed like it didn't show so much what was going on with Sandusky, but kind of what Paterno knew and what he was kind of keeping to himself and how much power he had.
Came out in 2018.
Huh, I've never seen it before.
It's on Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, Apple TV.
Did he give a real classic Pacino performance?
He was pretty convincing as Paterno, honestly. Like it was better than you'd think.
I don't remember Joe Paterno really, to be fair. That seems that seems like a long fucking time ago.
I remember when all that first came out, and then a lot of people were bagging on Paterno because oh, you knew, and Coach K had kind of put some backing behind Paterno and was like, oh, he's a good. I was like, nah, don't do that,
please don't.
No, stop.
You gotta start looking at us. Oh shit! All right, that's pretty much our last big topic. Coach in the hot seat or Coach of the Year rankings. Do you have any extra additions?
Who should win Coach of the Year? Actually, that's a good question because I'm kind of at a loss for who should win.
I think
I'd give it to Sarkisian.
It's not a bad. Yeah, that's Sarkisian's done a great job.
Yeah, from what they did last year to this year, I think it's been a good shot.
Yeah, okay. So we got Kirby Smart's obviously in conversation. Potentially on the cusp of 3 national titles in a row. Jim Harbaugh, no fucking chance. Dude's been suspended like 3 times this year or something. Washington, Kalen
Yeah, yeah.
DeBoer, he should definitely be in there.
Mm.
Actually, he might be a better choice than Sarkisian.
Norvell won ACC Coach of the Year, so he's up there. But we did win 10 games last year, so it's not a huge jump. Dan Lanning, not too much of a jump from last year. Ryan Day, absolutely not. Sarkisian, okay. Saban, probably
I
not.
think this is Nick Saban's best coaching job.
Yeah, I would say so. Missouri's coach
agree with
should
that.
definitely be up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he might be the guy.
What about
Franklin.
Zona's coach, baby?
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Venables could definitely be up there, turning 6 wins previous year to 10, and then 11 with the bowl win. That's probably it. It's probably, and then maybe Liberty's coach.
Oh, Chadwell, he'll
That's
get
so
some
like
smaller awards. He won't get considered really big time for that one though.
I think if Washington wins this week, it's probably Kalen DeBoer.
I agree with that.
I don't see why it shouldn't be like Washington came out of fucking nowhere. Out of nowhere. Nobody had anything on Washington coming into this year.
They're all right last year, but I didn't expect them to be this good.
No, it's gonna be him or probably Sarkisian, or Missouri's coach. It's probably them 3. Or Kirby Smart if they're really, buying into the back to back type thing. It really depends on kind of like what you value, I suppose.
I wouldn't.
What do you think is up with Heupel at Tennessee? You think last year was an anomaly for them, or you think
I was thinking about that the other day. Like, was that just a 1-year thing? Was it just Hendon Hooker?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he runs a very good offense, but they don't have the quarterback right now to do that. Milton's not the guy, and then they also Jalen Hyatt's gone. That dude was fucking insane. Every time you drop back, that man's just running a straight seam up the sideline. He's just burning somebody. All you gotta do is throw it to him. He's open. Every time it seemed like. And then the Giants, we just don't use him for some reason.
I will say going into the SEC, as an Oklahoma fan, Tennessee's the team that scares me the least.
For sure, I would say.
Like out of the big, like on our schedule, because we have Tennessee, Ole Miss, Bama, and I believe Missouri. Like I'm really not sweating Tennessee like I'm sweating those other 3 teams.
Yeah,
for sure. As we touch on the transfer portal real quick, it did just open up, a lot of big names rolling out, QB wise. Anyways, we got DJ, touched on him, Riley Leonard going to Notre Dame, Cam Ward, Utah's backup, not Bryson Barnes, but they're backup. I think he's got 5 teams on his short list.
Oh, you're talking about a Nate Johnson or whatever his name was?
Is it Nate Johnson? Or I thought it was Cameron Ward. I'm thinking of Washington State.
Cam Ward's Washington State. Yeah,
I think it's him actually, not Nate Johnson.
I
think Cam Ward's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know why I said Utah's backup.
Yeah, he has I think A&M might have even been on the list.
There's some good teams on there. He's a good quarterback. He's very athletic, very mobile. Washington State started out so hot. I don't really know what happened to them. I don't really watch their games, so I'm not sure. But he'd be like a really good pickup for a lot of teams, because there's so many teams losing quarterbacks. So Washington needs a quarterback. Florida State probably. Oregon definitely. Ohio State, yes. Texas, no. If Quinn Ewers comes back. Bama, no, they're good. Not sure on Missouri's QB. I don't know what grade he's in. Penn State, definitely. Ole Miss, I think Jackson Dart's gone.
He's coming back.
He's coming back
next year.
Okay. I don't know if they're sold with him. OU's probably good. LSU's definitely needing a quarterback. Jake Plummer. Not sure what grade he's in, but I feel like he could be gone. Arizona's good. Iowa, 100%, 1,000%. They could take
Iowa needs all the quarterbacks, bro.
They could take somebody's backup and be good. Notre Dame would be good. Oklahoma State, a million percent. That dude's a fucking bum. I don't even know who NC State has. Oregon State definitely needs one, but I don't know who would go there. They're not even in a conference anymore,
Yeah,
really.
they're setting up a deal with the Mountain West. It looks like.
I don't know why you'd go there unless you want to just go in and dominate the Mountain West, which yeah, that's cool, I guess. Sure. Tennessee, yes, they need one. Not sure about Tulane, Clemson, maybe Liberty. I think they're probably good. K-State 100% needs one. So there's out of these current top 25 teams, there's a good like half of them need
Mm.
quarterbacks rolling into next year. So there's a lot of good spots opening up, and that Cam Ward-Lease would be a significant upgrade to a lot of these teams, especially if they are looking for a mobile quarterback, which are not the most common, especially competent ones. I think there's some more
I think
team.
Dante Moore leaving UCLA is really interesting.
Wow.
Because he was originally committed to Oregon, flipped it to UCLA, but now with Bo Nix leaving, I'm thinking he might try to go to Oregon now. Is kind of what it's looking like.
Penn State hired Kansas as OC.
That's a good hire.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been pretty solid offensively the last couple of years. Kansas has definitely enjoyed a more productive last 2-year run than they have historically, for sure.
Kansas has pissed me the fuck off this year. The old boy, is it Jalen Daniels? That motherfucker. What the fuck is he doing? So we was looking at him at the beginning of the year. He had like some back pain type thing. That was like his injury is what he was labeled as, or back tightness or some shit like that. So he's like, okay, he'll be good. Next week, 2 weeks from now, rolls up, still out. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this dude? Hasn't played a game like all fucking year. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what is wrong with you? And then I continue to see commercials on my fucking TV from his NIL deals, and I'm like, bro, you ain't played all year. What are we doing? Kansas would be really, really in a good spot this year if he would have played.
Indiana hired James Madison's coach. I think that's an interesting hire.
Wow.
That could be good.
Was it Chimetti or Cometti, whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Signetti.
I'll be honest with you. I think he could have done better than that.
Indiana's not a great program, especially going into what they're going into next year with.
Why would you go to the Big
more
Ten?
teams?
You think he's able to come in and do what Jeff Brom did at Purdue when he was there? And there was that 1 year a few years ago when Purdue actually Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
I
they
think
made
they
the Big
finished
Ten
like
championship.
8-4. Yeah.
Matt Rule says a good QB in the portal costs $1 to $2 million.
Yeah. Hey, he's not lying,
probably.
man.
I guess we can roll into conference realignment since you wanted to talk on that like last week. Show them.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that one of your big topics you was wanting to go crazy on?
Yeah, we can
You sounded hot. I played Nick the voice message you sent me, and I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be spicy." He's rolling in hot.
I don't even remember what all I was mad about, man. Everything was hitting me because I was watching that game, and then I was pissed off because I was trying to find a jersey, and they pulled the jerseys off the table, and I was pissed off about 10 different things, man. I'm gonna be honest, but yeah,
we can touch on that, and then we can roll into team talk.
I'm definitely not a fan of all the continued conference realignment. I understand kind of like why they're doing it and everything, but yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of some of these away games going all the way across the country, right? I mean, as we mentioned earlier, we talked about like Stanford and Cal and SMU. I mean, just some of these, the ACC's always been kind of a tight little Southeastern thing. And then, back in, 2004 and 2013, you added some of these more Northeastern teams.
Rutgers and shit.
Yeah, but so you got these teams along the East Coast. It's still
relatively close.
But now you're adding all these teams in the West Coast, and it's just academically it makes perfect sense, but location wise, it's just an absolute nightmare. And I'm just not a fan. And honestly, I think maybe what I was upset about last week was we were talking about, part of the reason I feel like Liberty hasn't gotten much respect is because they're in Conference USA. Not one of the better Group of Five conferences. I don't think anyone would think otherwise. However, I think part of the reason that they weren't in the Sun Belt is because those Sun Belt teams didn't want them because of that big old endowment they got. They don't want to compete with a team that's got those resources and facilities. Because I mean, for all intents and purposes, you take take a step on Liberty's campus, and I mean it's like you're in a Power Five program across the board. It's a huge campus. The facilities are nice. You know, the practice facilities are nice. Everything they have is really nice. So I think maybe some of those Sun Belt teams like your Appalachian States, your Old Dominions, your you know Northern Alabamas, some of those schools they didn't want to compete with a school with that type of money. So from the group of five standing, I mean it is what it is. I don't know if you guys just saw that the Conference USA is adding Delaware, so that'll be an
Yeah, I did
interesting,
see that.
They paid like
interesting.
5 million to get in that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
crazy, but I don't know, man. It's just so much. It grinds my gears, I guess. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. At least on the ACC perspective, I feel like there's better teams we could have poached. I get the Pac-12's crumbling, and then the teams are up for the grabs. We kind of got last dibs.
hmm
And, kind of take it or leave it. We probably should have just left it realistically. Honestly, we should have been looking to some of the bottom SEC Big Ten teams. Purdue,
South Carolina, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, South
hmm
Carolina. Who else? Fucking Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of other teams we could have maybe approached and been like, hey, come over here and you're gonna have a lot better time. At least in football.
Sure.
Um, I know football is not the entire school's focus for a lot of schools. Outside of like maybe 20 teams probably. But there's so many options we could win after. We could have Arizona maybe. And I know they're going to the Big 12. It's still out west, but they came in and competed pretty well. Let's see who else. Anybody up here? Fuck, Liberty. We could have taken Liberty.
So I think the big thing there is the academics. You know, and that's what always is kind of I thought it was interesting about Louisville. You know, Louisville's kind of an outlier. Academically, they don't really fit the mold of the ACC. You know,
No, they
it's
don't.
not
They're one of the bottom for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. Like man, the conference realignment. I was touching on it earlier. It's gonna be so competitive in the Big Ten, SEC. It's gonna be damn near impossible to finish out undefeated. We was looking at some of the schedules for next year for some teams. It's not impossible to win out, but you're gonna roll into that conference championship, and you're gonna be playing some juggernauts.
hmm
And you schedule a week schedule, and you're gonna roll into that game, and that team might have a absolute crazy stretch to get there, maybe drop a game or two, and you might be undefeated, and they're gonna beat the shit out of you because you ain't played nobody.
Sure.
So it's I don't like it, but I like it at the same time. It's you win your conference you're in, so that's cool. So like SEC, it's gonna more than likely because Georgia and Alabama are now gonna be on the same side of the conference, so it's gonna be weird.
That is very weird.
So
Yeah.
there's gonna be years where only one of them might get in. There's a lot of scenarios where Georgia and Alabama both won't get in the playoffs with 12 teams, which is a little weird. If one of them has a slight down year and they drop 2 games,
Yeah,
they're
they could be
out
on the outside looking in. Yeah.
with 2 losses. And then there's gonna be the argument that we have right up here at 4, 5, and 6, but it's gonna be down here 12, 13, 14. You might have a 2-loss Alabama team sitting here where Louisville's sitting. Oh, they're better than this 2-loss Oklahoma team, 2-loss Ole Miss, 2-loss Penn State. They should be in over them, or whatever the case may be. So it's just gonna be really crazy.
I'm excited for the prospect of a two-loss national championship again or champion again. I think what was LSU, the Les Miles LSU team, was that the last two-loss championship team? It's been a while.
Yeah, I think
So.
the year they played Ohio State. Yeah, I think that
Mm,
was the last time it's happened.
Yeah, and then the Big 12's basically now on the same level as the SEC. I did touch on it earlier. Pretty much all the teams that they're adding are definitely going to drop down, production wise. Losing basically everything that they got. Probably outside of Oregon. Oregon's going to be the more constant competitor. USC got to figure something out. They got to do something. If Caleb Williams comes back, they can compete. They can compete. I don't unless they get a defense going. They're
Well,
fucked.
I don't know if they've hired a defensive coordinator. I haven't seen anything yet because Lincoln Riley definitely has to like make the right choice on that defensive coordinator spot, or he might be himself on his way out.
Facts.
Because USC is not going to tolerate 7-5.
Oh, that's
No.
terrible. I coming into the year, I was if you would have been like, yeah, USC is gonna finish 7-5, I'd have been like, you're smoking fucking crack. They got the previous Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. I'd have been like, okay, it doesn't matter what they got going on defense. They're just gonna pull Washington and outscore everybody.
And really, it could have been worse than that. They had some other close games. I mean,
They did.
Colorado had a shot, man. They had a
They
shot.
did.
Arizona, I mean, yeah, they had Arizona State was close. I mean, they could have finished with
Oh no.
7 losses.
I think they're one of those teams that really plays to their level of competition. And I'll be honest, like Georgia does that sometimes too, man. Georgia,
do.
like I think that Georgia's the best team, but I also think that there's some times where they like get bored and they'll just let opponents stick around that has no business being close.
Honestly, I think everybody's done that in some capacity, maybe outside of Michigan.
I think Oklahoma was big on that this year. Kansas and Oklahoma State should have not have been losses, and we just played like we dropped down to their level.
We're guilty of the same shit, but we can roll into team talk then, unless you guys got anything to touch on conference realignment. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. I'm here for it. I love the 12 team playoff format.
I do love that, yeah.
I think it would have been a lot more fun, before all the conference realignments that took place.
Yeah.
Is the Pac-12 still going to be a conference next year, or is it done?
Like done.
Like 2 teams left in it, man.
So are they taking like a group of 5 conference and moving into that slot?
I think that's probably what you're gonna see happen. I think it's maybe a mixture of some of the better group of 5 teams, but I'm honestly not too sure.
Because if they don't, then it's 4 guaranteed conference champions. So that's what I'm 4,
saying for next
and then
year,
it's more than likely going to be the second best team from all those conferences. So that's 8.
And then a group, the highest
group of
5 gets in.
champions. So that's 9, and then you got 10, 11, 12. 3 spots up for grabs. It's going to be some fucking random shit. So it's going to be a little weird with the Pac-12 completely falling apart. Previous to this year, I never would have seen it coming. If everybody's like, "Oh, the Pac-12 is done, they're gonna be gone," I've been like, "What? Why?"
Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but we can start with you, Sean. You want to talk about Liberty? What do you want to touch on? Which one do you want to go for?
Let's see. Are we focusing on teams just in the top 25 or just in particular?
Do whatever you want.
Favorite
team talk.
I'd like to talk about the Carolina Tar Heels, man. I'd like to talk about how going into the season. Yeah, I'd like to talk about how going
Not
into
even
the
his favorite team. He's
nah.
That's who I want to touch on.
I want to talk
about a rival.
Yeah. So this team had a like I mentioned earlier, they had a schedule tailor-made for success, man.
They did.
You got Mac Brown, you got Gene Chizik, big name, obviously not a great coordinator. I mean, look at that schedule, man. Look at that schedule.
Easy.
What are we talking about? They shouldn't have lost the game on
Virginia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, NC State. It's Clemson's down year. If anything, this is the year everybody should be beating Clemson.
Yeah.
They did get unlucky pulling them at the end of the year because they
Clemson playing better, yeah.
NC State's always a trap team, especially on the road. So that's never a guarantee, no matter what year you're playing them. So okay, I get these 2 losses, but these 2
shouldn't have happened.
You got arguably one of the better quarterbacks of our generation is what everybody's hailing Drake May as. He's prodigy, gonna lead North Carolina to the fucking promised land, and then
very, 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 very interesting, man. I don't really know. I don't think Mac's got it. I don't really think Mac ever had it. I think obviously he had a good run at Texas, had a couple of teams, obviously got him to the national championship again after they won it and everything. But I don't know, man. He came back home to North Carolina where he was at before Texas, and I just haven't seen much out of him. They do the same thing every year. They get all this high praise, and then they drop games they have no business losing, right? So
they got the shit beat out of them. Look at this time of possession. 40 minutes. They've been spending about 20 more minutes than North Carolina. 3 turnovers.
Carter Finley's a tough place to play for sure.
I get it. The stadiums ain't that big. Jesus Christ.
Fans are crazy, man. It's always the same. It's the same people that go down the street, the next day and go to the Hurricanes game, the Caniacs.
I just don't understand how they ball off the ball for 40 minutes and their running back only ran for 55 yards. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck happened?
Oh, it's
I
kind of
I
like
kind
the
of want
Michigan State game. They had the ball forever and they
to
got 53 yards.
the quarterback run for 22. Okay, I was about to, that's the only way to keep drives going for that long is running the ball. Unless this dude was just dipping and diving, little small passes. I mean, he threw for 334 and three tutties, but like
Imagine getting clapped by a dude named Benjamin Armstrong that looks like that, bro. Like, look at that guy,
he's a
dude.
goddamn
Like,
founding father. Dude, that's
he's
what.
like,
Speaking of pictures, fucking JJ McCarthy's dumbass. Have you seen his picture on ESPN?
no.
Oh my god, he's it's bad. He looks like he's been beat up a couple times and his face is all fucked up.
He does.
I just hate him based off his picture.
He looks like like someone on the swim team that would be charged with like sexual assault or something.
Yeah, something like that. Jesus Christ.
It's pretty.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's probably like the fucking coolest dude in the world, but I fucking hate him, for no reason. I can't stand him. I think it was
Definitely
based on
gotta
how high they had this man winning the Heisman like 3 weeks ago. I don't think he's thrown a touchdown in like 3 weeks.
couldn't
But
handle the pressure, man.
yeah, North Carolina, man, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, they're
It's weird.
it's not a football school, man.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't.
But I
They're
also
not. They
think
haven't.
they're one of those schools that are okay with, like just being good, not great.
Sure.
Not with this quarterback. They ain't. This is the dude.
Well, he's gone. He's gone now.
Yeah, now they're back to the fucking basement of the ACC where they belong. Have they been good at basketball lately? Are they good this year?
Yeah, they got a really good win yesterday. They dropped 100 on Tennessee. Pretty
Ooh.
solid win. Yeah. And then
Ooh.
Duke lost. Duke lost to
Duke's
Arkansas.
had
So
a pretty rough start. I lost to
they
Arizona the
have.
first game, and then
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Pretty sure.
John Shire's got to figure out the lineup for sure, man. He's tinkering with it right now, and it's clearly not working. So
I think we blew a 14-point lead at Colorado in like the fourth quarter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, John Hamm got to go. We need a new coach. He's
John Hamm.
he's been there too long. He's been there too long. We'll roll.
Sooners are 7-0.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, we're
You
ranked for
guys
the first time in a while.
fucking beat the dog shit. I mean, not even. I don't want to say the dog shit because they did score 45.
Our defense played terrible. I don't know what was going on with the defense that
I was
game.
talking about the defense earlier. Fucking
But,
this yardage is crazy. This is a Big 12 game.
That's a
for
classic
sure.
Big 12 game, yeah.
Almost 70 points we scored. Yeah, it was good showing. Dylan Gabriel's maybe his last game, probably his last game. Drake Stoops' last game. I wasn't gonna go to this game, but I was like, "There's no way I could miss Drake Stoops' last game. There's no way I'm gonna do that." And I'm glad I went because he played great. Gavin Sawchuk ran the ball really well.
Look at that haircut.
Yeah. No. Have you ever heard Drake Stoops talk? Like,
No,
he does not sound like what you think he sounds like. He sounds so different than what you would think he sounds like. Mainly like for favorite team talk, really what I want to touch on is everything that's happened since this game. Jeff Lebby is gone. He is the Mississippi State head coach now. So we just promoted an offensive analyst, Seth Luttrell. He was a offensive coordinator at North Carolina, I think in like 2014, took over North Texas for about 5 years. At one point he had North Texas with like the 8th ranked offense in the country.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's a pretty good hire. And then we also have a co-offensive coordinator, Joe John Finley. He was a tight end. I believe he played for us quite some time ago. Great recruiter. I'm happy with that. Tolly Walker was one of our best running backs this season. He's entered the transfer portal for some reason, I guess. So we're losing out on him. And then our whole offensive line is going to be gone. And our whole defensive line is going to be gone. So we got to hit the portal hard to fill in all those holes. If we could do that, I think we'll be fine next year, regardless if it's Jackson Arnold or Dylan Gabriel. I would rather stick with Dylan Gabriel because he has experience. He's like the I think he's like the fourth all-time leading passer in NCAA history now or something like that. I don't know why you wouldn't want to go with that much experience in your first year in the SEC instead of a guy who's never started a game before. But
I mean, rolling an SEC conference play is gonna be very, very interesting for OU next year.
I think
I'm
if we could
excited.
win two out of those four really tough games.
You guys got
I think
Alabama at home. What, Tennessee at home too?
Yes. And
I-
Alabama is in a November game, so I believe it's going to be the week before the Iron Bowl. Is going
Okay,
to be
so
OU Bama.
I mean, I feel like traditionally Alabama, kind of struggles the week before the Iron Bowl. They're kind of looking forward to that, especially if Auburn's having a really good year. So it'd be beneficial for you guys if Auburn's good next year, because they're like, oh fuck, yeah, we got this big ass rivalry next week. We're playing OU for like the fucking first time in God knows how long, if ever.
Since the Sugar Bowl in 2013.
Yeah, that's a long time. Nobody on that roster has played OU before.
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody on the coaching staff, probably other than Nick Saban's played OU. Nobody on OU's coaching staff's probably played Alabama.
Except for Venables.
Yeah.
He's gone
So,
against Saban in a few times.
But I mean, this is like, it's not a traditional Alabama team that they're probably going to roll in with next year with Milroe. So
I mean, I'm hearing Bama's gonna pick up one of A&M's top receivers, which that's gonna be much needed for Bama.
they do. They need receivers. That's kind of like their downfall this year is they don't have that traditional number one dude other than I think Jermaine Burton. So it'll be interesting for OU next year. I will say y'all need to shore up the defense for sure. That's been my like harping point on OU all year.
See, I thought the defense was good for the most part. This game was the only game we gave up 40 plus in.
Yeah.
I think you got to look at the fact that TCU's trying to get bowl eligible, so they probably played out of their ass too
Yeah, for sure.
offensively.
They also have Kendall Briles as their offense coordinator, who's really good despite
True.
all the Briles
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't know, like for OU, man, like yeah, Jeff Lebby's been really kind of up and down with the play calling, which is kind of like, in my opinion, cost you some games, or made games a lot closer than they needed to be.
Yeah, I think everybody's happy with like we're happy for Levy.
Yeah,
We're also happy
he's gone.
Because I mean, we had I think the second highest scoring offense and fourth total offense,
which is crazy considering his
83rd in
play
time of
calling is
possession.
fucking trash.
Yeah, 83rd in time of possession. That's why we're losing games we shouldn't be losing.
Defense on the field the whole game, and that could be rolling into my other point. Like coming into this year, I thought the defense was going to be significantly better. I thought Venables would, have him squared away. He's a defensive guru.
I mean, we did until after Texas, first six games.
Yeah, you think a defensive guy is like Venables is, maybe one or two. So I was like, man, OU's about to have, the toughest fucking defense in college football. They're arguably a better destination than Clemson. Yeah, I would probably rather go to OU than Clemson. I mean, it also kind of plays into where the recruits are, from, might play into where they would want to go. But yeah, then the defense, I'm like, some games, I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I would be upset for some situations, not across the board. Across the board, yeah, it's been a very productive defensive season for OU. They've done really well, but and then some games, I'm just like.
A lot of it to me, I think, the injuries and then just an inexperience from a lot of the guys. We had a lot of young guys in there.
Yeah, and it's also an outside perspective looking in. I'm not.
Venables has one of the most complex defenses. Apparently, it's really hard to learn, first year in.
Yeah,
so
and then you got
a couple years.
You got some seniors that have been on the team that used to something for so long. They're there for 1 year, and then they're like, and do we really want to buy into this? And maybe half-ass it. And I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out of my ass, I guess.
Yeah, I don't
think starting to kick in, boys.
Yeah, I don't think we win the national championship or nothing next year, but
I think if you guys win 8 games next year, I think it's solid year.
Three losses. I'm cool with that next year. Going into what we have to play.
Yeah, I think I would be happy with 8 wins if you could, especially if you guys can beat Bama at home. Solid.
Which I think
Please,
is very, very possible. Very
please ruin their year. Please, please. I'd be fucking all for it. Oh boy.
Yeah, this Florida game was rough to watch, especially early on.
Bro, I thought we was fucked, man.
Yeah, you messaged me. What'd you say in your message? You were like, bro, you're like, this shit sucks or something like that.
Let me see. I'll go back to it. Scroll back.
You're like, I'm freaking out or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
I was like, I'm about to have a heart attack. I think that was probably about this point when we was up to. Fuck, dude. I missed this entire drive right here. I think I was fucking with my kid trying to get him done for bed. So, going into that, we was down by 12, pushing halftime, and then we get the ball back. And I was like, fuck, dude, we're so fucked. And then I'm out fucking with my kid and come back and we scored a touchdown, or we're in the red zone. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? But, our first drive, like, they come out on their first drive because they get the ball first. They go down and score. Our first drive, Trey Benson's trying to run. He runs out to the right. They shut it down. He comes back, shut it down. He comes back again, and he gets tackled for like a loss, like 14. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, that drive's over with. And then we turn the ball back. We get the ball back to them, and we go down 10, and I'm like, okay. And they got a backup quarterback. I think this is like his first game, and then I'm like, why the fuck is their backup better than our backup? He's been there for like 3 fucking years. This kid knows the system. He knows the playbook. He knows everything. He can run everything that Jordan Travis runs. He just doesn't run like Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
He's not as creative, for now. So I was like, what the fuck is happening to us? Like, what are we doing? And I'm attributing it a little bit to Norvell's play calling. I do think it was a little conservative. We're trying to run, and then this is Florida Super Bowl, and I've said that a lot. Everybody's played us like it's their Super Bowl all year. We get the best of everybody's defense every game. Go looking back to every game we've played, it's probably the best every defense has played is when they've played us.
Yeah, I would agree with
fucking that. Boston College,
Mm-hmm.
It's their fucking red bandana bullshit.
And Boston College, the game, it was a few weeks after they had barely scraped by like Holy Cross or someone like that. So
yeah,
I was like, what's happening right now? Like,
exactly. So it's so hard to kind of judge how we're gonna play against the defense. And like coming into this game, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna blow Ford out. They got a quarterback that's never fucking played before. This dude, they come in, he's not even throwing the ball. Like, look at his passing stats. He's 9 for 16 for 85, and he threw that interception on his last drive. So they was religiously running the ball, and religiously we've had a bad run defense all fucking year. I don't know why. We have arguably some of the better defensive players in the country. Granted, our fucking secondary is a liability too. It's just I don't know, man. It's a weird. I don't know what to make of this game. Yeah, Trey Benson, he had some bad runs, but also there's nothing opening up for him because they know we're gonna have to run the ball. They know this is Tate's fucking first true big game. It's on the road. He's overwhelmed, and the play calling was terrible. Norvell almost lost us this game. We're trying to run a little fucking screen pass, and like it's like 3rd and long. Like, obviously, we're gonna go with the screen pass, and they almost intercepted like 2 of them on a screen pass. Like that shit shouldn't happen. Like, just let the fucking kid go out there and throw the ball. Just let him go out there and play. Take the training wheels off, and coming in the second half, that's kind of happened a little bit. Running game got opened up a bit more. I will say, that Florida, Jesus Christ, they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed the way they conducted themselves in this game. Spitting.
Mm-hmm.
They had a player gets ejected for spitting. Who the fuck does that?
Yeah,
Um,
that's
the
there was a
the
lot of childish
double
shit going on.
the double. I think both of those players should have been ejected for targeting on that hit on Rodemaker. I don't know how he got up.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't.
bad. That was really,
Did
really
Nick? Did you
bad.
Yeah,
see that
that was.
play?
Yeah, and
Uh,
I think I texted you. I was like, "This is some shit
uh,
if he doesn't come back."
I don't know how he even got up. That dude got hit on both sides of his head.
It could have been double targeting. I mean,
It,
I
it
think
should
the
have
one,
it should have been.
yeah, the one player got thrown out, but it definitely could have
They
been double targeting.
they both should have been gone, in my opinion. But they didn't even need to make that play. Like
Not at all.
he wouldn't have made the first down.
Yeah, he was already sliding.
Arguably that could have saved the game for us. So we'll take it, undisciplined Florida as usual.
Hmm.
Man, their defensive coordinator made an absolute fool of himself. I don't know if you've seen any of his shenanigans on the sideline, especially in the first half. That dude was over there going crazy, like just like a fucking buffoon. And then like as we started coming back, they was over there like it was great. It was great. Did you see that video I texted you, Nick? It was like a press conference. It was like combined. It was like their defensive
Oh yeah, then it
coordinator
was.
and Norvell. He's like, what? Because he's talking about like their shit that they're running, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Um,
That almost looked like that almost seemed like a skit, like the
it
Florida
did.
guy. Like,
It
yeah, I
did.
was like, what is going on here?
I mean, they did miss 2 field goals in this game, so it could have been a little closer. Uh, I don't know what to think about Rodemaker. To be fair, he didn't have a good game. I talked about with Nick before he popped in. There was a lot of plays, we're doing some type of read option play, but he's not pulling it.
Hmm.
He's just letting it go, and fucking Benson's just getting stuffed by their defensive line in the backfield. There was so many plays he could have pulled it, taken it for 30 yards. They weren't respecting his running capability, and I know he can run, so I
Hmm.
don't know if we was potentially saving that for this Louisville game because they're gonna look at this game like, okay, he has these wide open lanes, he's not pulling it. We're not gonna push. We're
Yeah,
gonna
it could have been one of those things where they didn't want to show their hand
exactly.
before that game. So
We might have been completely convinced we was gonna win. Not sure. I hope that's the case because I know he can run, but our running defense still continues to concern me. Fucking giving up 170 yards rushing. We give up over 100 yards rushing. I think every week. Every week. Adam Fuller continues to piss me off, and then he continues to impress me at the same time. I can't stand him. I think we definitely need to find a new defensive coordinator. Um, and then our secondary, man, I don't know. Like we have such a great defense, but our defense is so bad at the same time. Fentrell Cypress still, I want him off the team. The transfer from Virginia, he's like the number one, transfer cornerback in college football last year, and the dude's trash. He's trash. Uh, and then Keon Coleman, I don't know what the fuck happened to him this game. Tate Rodemaker didn't even look at him all game. It was all Johnny Wilson. So I don't know, man. I will
This
just
game just added more questions than
it,
anything. I feel
it,
like
it really
yeah,
didn't solve anything for me. I was expecting Rodemaker to come in and have a much better game. I was like, he's gonna be that dude. We're not even gonna dip a little bit. Uh, Psych. We might be fucked against Louisville, but I guess this game's supposed to be really rainy, like really bad. If that's the case, it's gonna be a lot of running. Can we stop the run? I know we can run the ball. And we'll see.
you're playing a team that's angry after losing to their rival, so there's always that
Facts. And then we
that
did
too.
just beat our rival, so we're a little bit on
Hmm.
a high, and we're also undefeated. So it's like
You know,
we're almost at a disadvantage.
I think it could be a slugfest.
Yeah, and then going forward, like Nick was saying with like his team, like I'm pretty sure we're losing like our entire offensive line. We have like the oldest cohesive offensive line in college football. Most consecutive starts played together. So I'm pretty sure that the majority of them are gone. Our D line did impress the hell out of me. I said last week I was like, God help Florida's quarterback and their O line because Jared Verse and Patrick Payton had a fucking field day. Uh, Definitely boosted their draft stock a little bit. but Jared Verse is gone, so we're gonna have to figure something out on the D line coming into next year. Going to the playoffs, fuck man. If we make the playoffs, I don't know. I think we get blown out. To be fair, I think we get blown out.
At this point, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Unless
Yeah.
it just looks completely different against Louisville.
I'll be honest with you. I think
confidence.
actually, I know that I had Michigan in that number 2 spot, but I think as far as the current playoff standings, I think that you guys match up best with them out of anyone. I think that Washington or Oregon would probably be a blowout, and I think Georgia would be a blowout, but I think Michigan, you guys could actually hang with them.
We wouldn't pull Michigan though. We'd have to move to 3. Oregon beating Washington.
Yeah, it'd be the 1-4 and the 2-3.
They'd probably jump us. It's almost a guarantee if we make it, we play Georgia first rib.
Yeah.
Unless Bama beats Georgia.
If Bama beats Georgia,
then you're pulling Michigan. Yeah.
If Bama beats Georgia, we might not make it. Is the crazy thing. I guess we can roll into that. There's a lot of hypotheticals. Okay, so I guess we'll roll into that. We'll see, hypotheticals, what we think might happen. So
I'll mention real quick, since I kind of chose my team talk to just trash Carolina, but Duke's losing quite a bit too. I was out there obviously for senior day the other night. And it took about as long to announce the departure of the seniors than it did the whole game. So it's going to be next year is going to be fun. But on a better note, Duke's punter Porter Wilson, made first team all ACC, and he's got the sweet stash, bro. And
that's
like a
crazy because fucking
yeah.
I think our punter is in like the final 3 for like the the punter like college football award, which is that's crazy that he was him, but he's in the running for top 3 punters in college football. I don't really know how that works.
I think he's like 7th in the country. Porter Wilson is for like yards per punt or something like that. But
I love punting. Punting's
awesome.
Such a detriment to an offense. Nick and I were talking about that. Like punting, a punter might be like arguably like the 3rd most valuable player on a team. It's quarterback. If you got like a all-star receiver, running back, and then or defensive end, cornerback, probably then punter.
Yeah, punter's huge, man. Especially if you're really productive at it, and you can pin someone back far away. I mean, it's
within the
hugely
10 every time. Yeah, for sure.
Hugely important.
All right, but let's say Bama beats Georgia for shits and giggles. So looking at Ohio State when they lost to Michigan, they dropped 4. Some people are saying Georgia might not drop out of the top 4, so they might drop the 4, and then Bama, who fucking knows where they slide up. And if Texas loses, that helps them even more. I don't think they do, but so it could be Alabama and Georgia at like 3 and 4, winner of Oregon, Washington at 2, and then Michigan would slide to probably 1, and we'd get left out.
Which is insane if you go out being undefeated. Yeah.
I don't think Georgia makes it if they lose.
At that point, like, what's the fucking point of winning your conference and going undefeated if you're gonna go left out?
Sure.
I know we lost our starting quarterback. I get that, but like what's the point?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
There's no point.
It's not really Florida State's fault that some of the teams in the conference have underperformed this year. I mean, you play who's in front of you. You're in one of the major conferences. It is what it is. I mean, there's really no reason a major conference team that goes undefeated should be missing the playoff. And this is why we are extending to the 12.
And we took the risk and scheduled LSU out of conference 2 years in a row, and beat them both times. Like, it's not our fucking fault. If we get left out,
I just don't see a scenario where a loser from this weekend makes the playoffs. I think Georgia gets left out.
Best case scenario,
or maybe Bama. I don't know. Probably Georgia though.
We just need Georgia to beat Bama, and then we're good. We're good. But if Bama beats Georgia, fucking anything, all the shit goes into chaos. Like, it's absolute chaos. Because I'm like almost convinced Oregon beats Washington. So then you got that, 1-to-1 head-to-head matchup. Michigan's probably at 1, so they're a lot because they're blowing Iowa out. It's gonna be crazy. We just need Georgia to win, us personally. Because then Oregon, Washington winner, they switch, whatever the case may be. Michigan wins, we win, we're in. I don't know though. Do we even win? Who fucking knows? Who knows?
You want to pull up the conference championships and we'll
Yeah,
do
we'll
our
get the schedule.
predictions. See what we got coming.
All right. New Mexico State at Liberty,
Ooh.
6 p.m. this Friday. Prime time. Oh, borderline.
Well, the last game, I want to say the final score was 31-16 Liberty. Liberty played a lot better in the second half. That has not been the case recently. Recently, they've been blowing the doors off people by halftime and then just kind of coasting in the second half. Last week, I think we were up against UTEP on the road and it was like 42-7 or something, and then they just kind of packed it in and didn't finish very strong. But New Mexico State's quarterback is pretty good. He gives us a lot of fits. He gave Auburn a lot of fits. He gave Hugh Freeze lots of fits 2 years in a row. If I'm gonna throw a prediction on the game, I'll say 34-27 Liberty.
Okay, you got it super close. I was gonna go like 13 points for Liberty.
Not a bad. That's about what we beat them by last time. I think last time it was 33-17. 33-17 was the score the first time we played them, I believe. They've improved a bit though, so I don't know. I'm not super confident, but we'll see.
Hell yeah. Okay. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I think Liberty wins. I like Salter a lot. I haven't followed New Mexico State a lot, but I don't know if they have a weapon like that on their team. I just highly doubt that.
If New Mexico State wins this game, do you think it kind of tarnishes Alabama just a bit? Because they barely beat Auburn and New Mexico State beat their ass. Maybe.
I mean, you could kind of, yeah. I mean,
me personally, I would be like, yeah, 100%. But I don't know what the committee would be like. Yeah, fuck it, whatever.
But they probably just chalk it up to it being a rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Sure,
whatever. And then we got Oregon at Washington, at prime time on Friday, which is absolutely cool. We had a really good game Friday, which is kind of bizarre, but I'll take it. There's almost too many games on Saturday to pack them all in. So, Oregon at Washington, they did lose. It's not even a fucking home game for Washington. I don't know why it's at. They should just be Oregon v Washington because it's in Vegas.
You could get into the Pac-12 championship for $25. That is crazy.
That's crazy, yeah. and then looking at the SEC, it's $330. Nuts.
Look at the Mac though, bro. $5. Like, what are we talking about down there?
Shit, I'll drive to fucking Toledo tomorrow.
But then you got to be in Toledo. That sounds pretty terrible.
Yeah, for sure. I hate to say it because I really want Washington to win, but I got Oregon winning by like 10.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I have Oregon by double digits.
I have Washington winning close like the first game.
It could be like 3 for Washington. If they're gonna win, it's gonna be probably less than 10. If Oregon's gonna win, it's 10 or more, I think. Something like that. Washington's gonna have to play probably a perfect game. Oregon's defense is really good. Shit, but we don't even really know. They ain't fucking played nobody, so we don't know if they're really good or not. Other than Washington. So, I hope fucking Bo Nix gets the flu and has a bad game. Be optimal. Oklahoma State at Texas. It's a home game for Texas, which is kind of crazy.
It's at the Cowboys Stadium, which is I guess more. There's gonna be more Texas fans there for sure.
Yeah, but I think OSU fans travel relatively well within their little perimeter of states.
Sure.
I can't see OSU winning this game.
I don't either.
Ollie Gordon's gonna have to do like 260, 280 on the ground, 2 or 3 touchdowns, and fucking OSU's quarterback, for the life of me, his name escapes me, but
Bowman, I can't remember.
Bowman, that dude's trash. He's gonna have to play like he did against OU. That little read option quick pass that they do, that I'm sure Texas is gonna be real dialed into that, but that's really all they got, for passing wise. If they get Texas real sold in on the run, and then he can hit something over the top a couple times, it could be interesting, but. Yeah, seeing them get blown out by UCF, going to BYU, get double overtime. It really doesn't give me a lot of confidence in Oklahoma State, but I hope they win. I hope they win.
This is
I
been
fucking hate
conflicted. This has been conflicting
fours
for
down,
me.
baby.
Uh,
Fuck Texas.
I hate both of these teams so much, and it's just been who I think Texas is gonna win. I'm
I
just like
do too,
who
but
do I want to win? And I've just been thinking about it. Like, do I want Texas to win, maybe make the playoffs?
absolutely
Do
not.
I want OSU to win and get a Big 12 championship and they have bragging rights on us and Texas? I'm rooting for my fellow SEC brothers.
Oh,
I
oh.
I've all like OU fans hate Texas more than OSU. I personally hate OSU more because where I live, it's extremely close to Stillwater.
It's it's very OSU
So I
heavy.
see way more OSU fans in my actual life.
Yeah.
This is the only time I'll ever do
Oh
this.
my, you make me sick. You make me sick.
Uh,
Oh no. Miami and Toledo. I don't know anything about these two teams.
they both were obviously ahead of their division, but Toledo's been pretty dominant. Toledo's only got one loss on the year, and I think it was to probably a Power Five team. I don't think it was. I think they ran the table in the MAC.
Yeah, 11 Illinois.
Only by 2 points too.
Yeah, and then Miami's 10-2. Miami got blown out, and Toledo. They've already lost to Toledo, so vengeance game.
You'd think, yeah. But you would think Toledo would win this game. They barely lost to Illinois, but I mean
Yeah,
Illinois kind of had a down year as well, though.
right.
Yeah, I think Toledo's in that kind of fourth spot for the group of five rankings. I think it's like Tulane, Liberty, SMU, and then Toledo's right there on their heels. So I think they're in the top. Let's see, they're in the top 25 now, or at least in the I think in the AP or the coaches, they're in one of those.
Yeah, they're 23 on the AP. Okay, cool. Yeah, probably Toledo. Boise State at UNLV. I got UNLV by 17.
Yeah, I think
I
UNLV
think I
wins
think
comfortably.
I think Boise State's had a pretty rough year.
Is UNLV gonna have their offensive coordinator at the game? Because I know he's a hot candidate right now. I don't know if he's landed anywhere.
Yeah,
That's the
I'm
case.
not sure.
Yeah, maybe not by maybe 10.
But if he's there, UNLV is gonna blow him out the water.
Georgia at Bama in Atlanta. It's basically a fucking home game for Georgia. I don't know why it's at. Makes no sense to me. Should be the other way around. I got Georgia by like 14, maybe 21.
I got Georgia, but lot closer.
It could be like 35,
Like
24.
7.
Yeah, I'll say 7-10.
Could be 24-17. Shit, I can see this be like 42-35. I don't think these teams are gonna score that much.
Yeah, I don't either.
Georgia definitely has the better defense, but Alabama's defense has definitely improved throughout the year. They're definitely gonna find a way to stop Milroe running. Because if they can't, Alabama's gonna have a fucking field day. Milroe gonna run for 250. It'd be like that LSU game if they can't find a way to stop him.
I think the lack of receivers for Alabama is ultimately going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, probably.
Georgia has people they could throw to. They have the better offense. They have a good running back.
Man, if I'm
Carson Beck's
Georgia,
played really good.
If I'm Georgia, I'm running man across the board, stacking the box. I'm gonna make Milroe beat me passing. He's not gonna run on me, and we're blitzing every play. That's how I'd run it. So, but he's kind of proven himself as a passer as the years gone on. So it might not work out for him. Who knows? SMU at Tulane, New Orleans. That's kind of a home game for
It is
Tulane.
a home game for them. Yeah,
SMU's from it's a
Dallas.
Texas school. Yeah,
Dallas,
that's not too far away.
I'm gonna say the shit catches up with Tulane this week. They've had a lot of close calls. Obviously, they won that game last week with all those turnovers. I'm gonna say SMU comes in there and trounces them.
I don't know a lot about SMU's backup quarterback. Did you like catch any of like his highlights or anything?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I think he accounted for about 7 points in the second half, but they were being a lot more cautious
Conservative.
because they were up so big, so it's kind of hard to say, and they could have done that on purpose to try to kind of because they knew the seriousness of the injury of their starter, and I think they probably wanted to maybe withhold a little bit of that in that game against Navy. So I don't know. I feel like they're just going to come out and click on all cylinders. Probably not going to happen, but that's what I'm going to go with. So
I think I do like SMU in this game because their defense is very, very solid. I think they're one of the two teams that had like a top 15 offense and defense on the season.
Impressive.
Tulane, they have a really impressive loss, like I was saying earlier in the episode. I think I'll go SMU.
Yeah. Fuck, I'll go SMU. I don't know anything about either team. App State at Troy. I'm going App State. You can never bet. You can never bet against App State.
Nah, man.
They ruined James Madison's season. They ruin everybody's season.
They do.
I expect nothing different.
I'm going with App State too, just because last year, if you remember that App State Troy game, there was like a Hail Mary at the end where Troy got. I think it was Troy that got it and ran it in and kind of ruined Appalachian State's season.
It is a home game for Troy.
Yeah, it's in Alabama,
which is weird. Very weird. It's pretty much at their. I think it's at their stadium. Troy,
yeah,
Alabama.
some of the smaller some of the group of 5 teams they do the home thing. It's the same thing for Liberty they're playing at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg there. So
I mean that could play into. I don't know. I don't know anything really about these two teams this
year. Troy's pretty
but...
good. I think Troy's like 10-2. They're not bad.
10-2. K-State. James Madison.
Those are I mean
not bad losses.
And then App State beat James Madison, also 8-4, but they've lost to North Carolina, Wyoming. Wyoming was good this year. Coastal Carolina has been good. I think Old Dominion upset somebody this year. So I don't know. I'm gonna go App State.
I'm still going App State just because.
Yeah,
every time I go against them, it blows up in my face.
Got Michigan at Iowa. This game
we might as well just be asking like, what do we think the spread's going to be?
I think it's gonna be like 42-10, 42-7. I can see Iowa not score potentially. Maybe 52-10, 52-7.
I'm going 35-3.
Iowa does not score more than 10 points.
No
chance.
I'll say 23-7.
And unless JJ McCarthy goes out and he's just throwing picks, or some fumbles, some weird turnovers. JJ McCarthy gets hurt. That's the only way Iowa has a chance. But that Iowa defense is very, very good.
Watch like Iowa just pull out some like crazy. They come out with a whole new offense. They've just been saving it.
And then Louisville at Florida State. This is pretty much as neutral as you could get.
Mm-hmm.
In South Carolina.
I'm going Florida State by
7.
Yeah, no more than one score.
Kel's going Louisville.
I don't know.
I can see it radiating out of the face.
I'm gonna go.
Put that fucking evil on me.
I'm gonna go Florida State 24-21.
Okay. Man, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be a fucking wreck this weekend. I've kind of come to the acceptance. I'd be happy with an ACC championship. That's it. If we make the playoffs, cool.
It's a great year, man.
We get blown out, cool. We won the ACC. It sucks for a lot of the seniors. It sucks for Jordan Travis. We potentially could have made a run, potentially upset somebody in the playoffs, but without him, I can't see it. I'm as a realist, I can't see it unless that dude comes out and he's a completely different dude this weekend. Can't see it. I feel like we have the better team overall, even without Jordan Travis. Across the board, better coaches. Maybe outside the defense coordinator. We should win this game. Should. But we'll see. We tend to fucking self-destruct and cause our own issues, penalties, and whatnot. So who fucking knows? But yeah, I'm gonna say it by 7.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then if Florida State does come out and Rodemaker has a great game. That changes my opinion on what Florida State could do in the playoffs.
Sure. Absolutely.
I will say I do not want Washington or Oregon first matchup. I would rather play Georgia and I'd rather play Michigan. I don't think our defense can handle those two offenses.
Yeah, those are tough.
Oh man. You guys got anything else you want to touch on? It's a short week. There ain't much left.
Just excited to see how everything plays out, man.
Man, I'm gonna just be severely disappointed if Georgia ultimately ends up winning it again. It almost feels like a wasted season.
Oh, we lost it.
He probably tried to close out the screen and
That's probably what it
closed
was.
out him. So
That's too funny. I was like, what's going on right now?
Oh, finds his way back on here before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to any games, like any conference championship games or anything like that?
No. If OU had made it, I was probably gonna try to go to the Big 12 championship. We'll see where we land in a bowl game if it's close. They're saying the Alamo Bowl. I might consider it. It's like, I don't know. San Antonio is probably like a 10-hour drive from here. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be a long trip. Me and Jaden went to the Cheez Bowl last year, though, because
Oh, nice.
Florida State knew you were playing each other.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a 19-hour drive, I think.
Yeah.
Just went straight there. Just kept swapping.
Oh my gosh, that's a long drive. I'm hoping Duke gets in the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, so I can go down to Charlotte for that.
I would hate to be the coach of the winning team for that game. Just
oh yeah,
Mayo
all the mayonnaise.
all over you.
Yeah. Or I'll be honest, man. Like it's not gonna happen, but the Pinstripe Bowl would be pretty dope because I'm literally like an hour train ride away from that game. So New York's right up the street.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of quality bowl games on the Northeast or in the North at all. It's most of them are in Florida, Georgia, out west.
Yeah.
Warmer locations.
That's what was nice about going to Orlando last year was, Oklahoma gets, I mean, it's not like freezing here, but the winters aren't great.
Sure.
And going down to, like 80, 90, whatever it was down there, felt really nice.
Yeah. For sure. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if Jaden's gonna make his way back. So we pretty much covered everything on this episode. So we'll wrap it up and we'll catch y'all next week.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, no problem.